Get 'em, Jimmy, where low shack at? The bottle's getting empty up the Kraken. We stacking chips, all of it's what I want. Plus money winners, that's what I'm on. You can say I'm gone. I prefer elevated pub sports radio. Time to get educated, get produced. Leave the juice, letting loose with so much abuse that the bookies wanna call a truce. They getting slaughtered. Can't forget Jeff and low baggers in the chat. That's a lethal weapon 'cause we be pubbing.
What up, cappers, gamblers, punters, hustlers, low baggers? Happy Friday, December 9th to all of you. Thank you for watching Betting with the Bag right here on Pub Sports Radio. A good enough night last night in the black, 2-1 in NHL, up 1 unit. Catch the Lightning -1 easily. The Red Wings, as soon as Nedeljkovic was in that, was just garbage. Winnipeg, St. Louis over 6 very comfortably, and we were probably fortunate to push the Stars -1. College basketball lost Ohio State first half -3.5, but the smash and grab by the Utes was even nastier than I expected. Just stomped on the throat of Jacksonville State. It was just a fucking walkover. So 2-1 college basketball. So we're looking real nice college basketball. 25-13, 65.8% plus 10.65 units. ROI plus 28.03%. In NHL, we're down 1.95 units now on the season. And I'm telling you, the black is ahead of us. We have a huge card today. Huge card. Huge NHL card. Huge college basketball card. And huge NBA card. Some of you would say, oh, it's a small NCAA basketball card. Hey, we have 10 games to cap. And I capped 10 games, and that took a lot of time. So big enough for me. Bobano will be joining us for NHL and college basketball, and then DutchBoyFresh, Fresh Fridays here for NBA. Shout out to all the cappers in the chat. It is great to see all of you guys. Ryan Mueller in the house, Bo Jackson, Viper, NB, Real Deal Prime, Danny Lopez. There's our guy, Mike M. Pimp slap 4-0. I love it, my guy. I love it. Jarek White in the house. Kadesh, KD, ready to get it done. Stimmy OG, serious business. North Ender, what a group. Kadesh Rams money line was wild. I'm glad you cashed that. It was wild. I used the Rams in pools, but I came so close to putting them in the contest. But I realized they were my 6th favorite pick. So I didn't bet it, but I watched the wildness of the end. Nutflush Allen, Jimmy Gomez, Joe Ortner, Jimmy Gomez, my guy, RVD 420, Clint started the I Heart MMA podcast, big UFC 282 here on Saturday night. Tonight we have, it's nonstop live stream betting action here on Pop Sports Radio. Tonight we have Sixers Lakers. Now, if LeBron and AD are not going, they'll probably switch to Suns Pelicans. But a lot of excitement here. Thank you guys so much for joining us. Beautiful. Slatsy's on the over with me. I'm with you. Nice. I love seeing that. We cash a lot. We have very high ROI when we're together, Slatsy. Wild Oilers over is a thing of beauty. I'm also on the Avalanche under with Nate McKinnon out in the way, Bednar will be coaching them. We'll see 5.5 soon with Colorado. I really do think we'll see 5.5 soon. All right, let's get to work. No tennis. I've been taking NHL more serious last 2 days. I'm loving that. I love hearing that. And Dan Kelly thinking of setting up an NCAA football bowl games confidence points pool. Okay, I'm into that. Rocco Rogers also liking that look. Big happy birthday out to a huge friend of the show, Walter Trotter. Trot Wham, Wham Bam. Happy birthday, man. We love you. Just thankful to have you in my life. You bring so much joy to it. Man, you're just always money in the bank. You're always in a good mood. You always make everybody comfortable. Family man, lead by example, and just quality. That's what you are, Wham Bam. You're just fucking quality, dude. So happy birthday, my man, Wham Bam. Thank you guys so much for joining us. We have a ton of work to do. Bobano will be joining us here shortly. But one thing I should mention, I did not move on NBA last night. The Clippers game never got to 7. I wish it did. Some books did have it at 7. Mine didn't. I wanted 8. But I didn't move on that, and I didn't move on the under. It dropped to as soon as the show's over, when I went to bed, it was 212.5, and I was like, I'm not going to bet under 213. Then it got down to 211.5, and then I saw Schnizzle move on the over at 211.5, and I was like, I get it at this point. So I didn't move on any NBA, but we have a huge card. Barry Smith in the house. What up, Barry? NYC represent. Great group, and we are going into NHL. We have a huge slate. So Bobano will be here with us shortly, but let's set up game one and get right to work. 7 p.m. Eastern, Pittsburgh Penguins, 14-8-4, 7-5-2 on the road at Buffalo Sabres, 12-13-1, 6-8-1 at home. We're at KeyBank Center in Buffalo, New York. Of course, Sabres coming off their 9-4 win at Columbus on Wednesday. We were on the over and cashed it. Oh, no, sorry. We were on Sabres -1 at plus 106. We were on Sabres -1. It was our guy, Nutflush Allen, who was on the team total over. And, man, we just cashed it so fast. Tage Thompson puts up 5 goals in the game. He's playing spectacularly well. Dan Kelly says Baker's a slightly better version of Colt McCoy. He will be a good backup for a long time. He will make good money playing football for the next 10 years. He's a lucky guy. Yeah, no, that's well put. Yeah. Yeah, now he's got to stay, you got to, if you're going to be a good backup, don't get ahead of yourself and don't get too cocky and shut the fuck up and do your job. If he does that, then yeah, I don't see why he wouldn't have a long career. It's well put. It made me a tiny bit jealous seeing him late in the game, a tiny bit jealous knowing that it's Brock Purdy that we're going forward with, but it makes sense. And I wonder if, because Dan was saying that the Rams only signed Baker so that the Niners wouldn't get him. I wonder if the Niners actually wanted him and were saying that they didn't want him. I wonder if that just because they knew that the Rams would get first crack at Baker. We'll talk about that more, especially when we talk about NFL. And I did add 3 bets in NFL yesterday. I know we're getting ready on NHL, but I did add 3 bets yesterday. I'm on the Ravens +2, the Broncos +9.5, and the Chargers +3.5. I got the 3.5 at regular VIG, and it's 3 right now. Okay, Bo knows jump try. What up, Bo? Get that cash. Let's bring on our star of Friday shows, hammering NHL with us here, and NCAA basketball. Big star here at Pub Sports Radio. Please welcome from Hamilton, Ontario, Canada's black and yellow, Ian Cameron to the show. Bobano, how are you?
Better than that useless football team and head coach I watched last night. Holy shit.
Yeah, it was so funny. There was some decisions he made, McDonald's, that shocked me, but when he saw that they didn't get that, that it was 4th and 1, that look on his face, you knew he was going to lose the football game at that point. Just that look, that just dumb look on his face. I was like, oh man. I feel bad for Raiders fans.
That defense to stop them with the game on the line. It's for the Raiders. They don't do anything good with the game on the line.
Oh, you go for I think the first down was a legit option. There was many options that he didn't take. He's horrible at choose your own adventures. But let's get to work, Bobano. We have an enormous card. Yeah. I've set us up for NBA in an hour and 50 minutes, 50. So NBA will be at 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern. Now we can massage that earlier, later, whatever, but that's the plan right now. We have a huge NHL card and we have a 10-game NCAA basketball card. And I, on the show, am sitting at 25-13 in NCAA basketball. Bobano 16-10. So we're both eating in NCAA, and he's doing spectacularly well on his own show. But here we're doing great on Fridays. Let's get to work, Bobano. We've started already opening up the Pittsburgh Buffalo Sabres spot here. Sabres 6-8-1 at home. Craig Anderson, we're expecting between the pipes. I put these goalies in last night late, so let me know if there's been changes. But we have Anderson 5-4-0, 2.87 goals against average, .916 save percentage, going up against Yari, who's playing much better. As soon as he started improving his play, this Pittsburgh team started winning hockey games. 11-3-3, 2.75 goals against average, .919 save percentage. Pittsburgh power play 18.4%. They expect to get Letang back pretty soon from the stroke. They always make jokes about the difference between hockey players and any other sport, but you get a stroke in the NHL, you're back in 2 weeks, Sabres coming off their second straight win, 9-4 at Columbus on Wednesday. They've scored 28 goals over their past 5 games. This opened up with the Pittsburgh Penguins minus 134. They're now up to minus 143. This total opened up at 6.5, and it's still there. They're showing a 7 on the board, but it's plus 117 to the over. Clearly, they are expecting goals. They're expecting goals in this one, and why wouldn't they with the Sabres playing? But the Pens aren't playing that type of hockey. Let's hear what Bobano has to say. Take it away, Bobano. Penguins, Sabres.
Yeah, over the total. I mean, I'm not even thinking twice anymore. I just bet Buffalo games over the total. Once again, we're doing that here tonight. They're an offensive machine at the moment. And it's not just Tage Thompson. Tage Thompson's spectacular, obviously, in the game against Columbus. He's got 21 goals now in the season, third in the league behind McDavid and Robertson. But it's not just him. And while he deserves a lot of the credit and he's having a phenomenal season, let's not sleep on the season that Jeff Skinner, is having, Alex Tuck is having, Jack Quinn and JJ Peterka, the way they're performing right now. Dylan Cousins is on fire at the moment for the Sabres as well. This is a balanced team offensively. They got more than Tage Thompson going right now. They've gone 8-1 to the over in their last 9 games. Pittsburgh's playing good hockey too. Let's give them credit. 8-2 in their last 10 games. They're on a 3-game win streak, beating Vegas, St. Louis, and Columbus all at home. Will they be able to carry it over on the road? 7-7 they are, pretty much a 500 team on the road. Buffalo actually has been slightly better on the road than at home. 6-9 their home record, the Sabres. I definitely think in this game the side is tough. I mean, definitely Pittsburgh, we know, a situation where they're a little bit better than Buffalo, but I'm not ready to lay $140 with them. And I like what I'm seeing actually offensively from the Sabres. They've won 3 of their last 4. So I'm just going to stick with goals. I think we're going to see it on both sides here. The series history points that way. 2 straight meetings have gone over the total, including 6-3 Buffalo earlier this season back in November. Very simple decision over the total for me.
The cheapest total I can find, and it's tricky, it's tough, is at 5 dimes. 5 dimes over 6.5 minus 125. It's up to minus 145 at some books. You want the minus 125?
Yep, that's good.
All right, you are locked in. We don't usually get these huge Friday NHL cards, Bobano. I'm excited for you to have the opportunity here with a big slate. Bobano, you are locked in over 6.5 at minus 125. Those of you who cap with me a lot know that I don't go expecting tons of offense after huge outbursts of offense. But like you've said, 8 of the last 9 have gone over. I can understand you going right back to the well, despite it being juiced. I know the Penguins will do their best to play a sound, accountable defensive hockey, whether or not you're capable of doing that against Buffalo Sabres. Another thing is, and we've talked about it often on this show, they are playing their star young defensemen, Dahlin, Power, and Samuelson way too much. They're running them into the ground. It's shocking. I'm just appalled at Granato doing this. And so the Sabres are falling off in the second half of games. They're falling off in the third periods. Playing these guys all 23 minutes plus, I don't think helps them. I don't think it helps them at all. And so keep an eye out for that. And I'm just appalled that nobody's pulled Granato aside and saying, look, this is about the future. It's not about now. But Bobano's moved on the over 6.5. Taint play of the day is in from Matty Ice, who saved me off of Minnesota Golden Gophers with his taint play today. Although I didn't cash on Michigan like you guys did with them, I did get off of Minnesota, and I'm very thankful for that. So, Matty Ice, thank you.
The Big Ten home courts have been so good that it kept me off Michigan. I wanted to take Michigan. It felt like that line was cheap. It felt like they were much better than Minnesota, but I stayed off that game because of the Big Ten home courts. Big Ten home courts are strong. I mean, it's ridiculous, the track record of home teams in that conference.
Yeah, no doubt. Also, the market move, there's all this money on Michigan, and it moved a point towards Minnesota. It was, I found it tricky. I shouldn't have. I should have just listened to sweet Taint. Taint we'll talk about here because that's the most important college basketball game on the docket, of course. Huskies, Gonzaga for us. Let's move on. We move on, Bobano, 7 p.m. Eastern. Calgary Flames, 13-10-3, 3-5-2 on the road at the Columbus Blue Jackets, 8-15-2, 6-10-1 at home. We're at Nationwide Arena in Columbus, Ohio. Markstrom, possibly. He's been bad this year. Vladar has been better. Merzlikins is back. So he's listed to start. Is that confirmed that we're going to see Merzlikins here tonight, Bobano? Do you have an idea about this? Because he's
Korpisalo's in for the Jackets. Yeah,
we got
Korpisalo.
Okay,
Yeah.
Korpisalo. Korpisalo.
Merzlikins is Merzlikin, so I can understand why he's doing that.
Yeah, he's leaguing 5.06 goals against average, 856 save percentage. It's sad seeing him, really fall apart since the death of his best friend there last year. Calgary power play 20.9%, penalty killing 80.7%. Columbus power play at 13.9%, penalty killing at 75.6%. The Flames come in off their third straight win, 5-3 at home over Arizona on Wednesday night. No, that wasn't. Was that? I thought that was a 3-2 win, wasn't that? Why do I? I'm
3-2 against Arizona, and then they beat Minnesota.
5-3. Thank you.
5-3.
That's where I got it wrong.
Yeah.
That's where I got it wrong. Thank you. 5-3 over Minnesota. And that was impressive. Minnesota quickly went up 2-0. Minnesota has become very leaky, and Flames took over. Jackets coming off their third straight loss, 9-4 at home to the Sabres on Wednesday night. And take a look at the line history. The Jackets are just a weak hockey team. Boone Jenner is improving, but they have so many defensive injuries, and that was one of the reasons why we just no doubt Sabres -1 when they met. Columbus, well, let's go with Calgary opening up -240. They're now -250. I mean, you have to pay a hefty price to fade Columbus. This total opened up at 6.5, juiced to the over. It's now juiced to the under. What do you think here, Bobano? Flames, Jackets?
Yeah, I mean, it's not a Columbus team I have any interest in backing right now. It's just a question of, do you get to Calgary in some form, and how do you do it? Because we're obviously talking about -260, and that range is a road favorite, which is obviously not what I'm going to be looking at. I'd look at maybe a first period puck line, or the regulation line's even gotten up to, I think, -150. Even that's no bargain by any stretch of the imagination. But, they're just struggling mightily. And look, they're starting to get at least a little bit healthier the last couple of games. They've at least got Patrick Laine back. They put in the young kid, Kirill Marchenko, who played in the KHL for a little bit and was called up from the HL, was actually tearing it up down there. Still waiting to see if he can translate that here to the NHL level. But no, Columbus is just a mess defensively all season. That's been their problem. Yeah, regulation's up to -160 now in Calgary. So you can't even really go that route. You could pretty much have to go puck line, -1.5, if you're going to like Calgary in some form in this game. You look at this Jackets team, though, again, defensively it's been poor. Korpisalo and Merzlikins, that combination has struggled in net as well. Korpisalo's got a 3.65 goals against average, 899 save percentage. So that's not something you really want to see. The Jackets have given up the 9 goals to Buffalo, 4 to Pittsburgh, 4 to Detroit. They did hold Winnipeg to 1, and that's the one impressive showing. But Winnipeg, they even admitted we were flat as a pancake that night. And they had that horrible start. They never regrouped. They had that great run of victories. They just shut out Colorado before that as well, and you could tell it wasn't their best. So even that performance, I'd give Columbus a little, don't give them too much credit for keeping the Winnipeg Jets to 1 goal. And then they gave up, 3 to Vegas. I mean, they've just been a dreadful defensive team, but especially of late. I mean, these last 4 games, it's been 4+ goals allowed. Last 3 games, rather, 3+ goals allowed to the opponent here during this 3-game losing streak. I'm kind of want to look at the team total for Calgary here, over 3.5, but it's -140 in a lot of spots. It's juiced a little bit. But I do think for this Calgary team, Gaudreau is going to be, fired up to play Calgary. I think they'll be fired up to play him. They're starting to play better. They've won 4 of their last 5. They've scored a minimum of 3 goals in all 4 wins. They've scored 5+ in 3 of the 4 wins. Slowly but surely, they're starting to go again offensively. We knew they weren't going to just be terrible in terms of their offensive execution forever. Kadri's starting to score again. Lindholm's starting to get it going. Dylan Dubé and Andrew Mangiapane, 2 counted upon pieces to this team coming into the year with the departures in the offseason, are starting to find their form now. So that's why all of a sudden Calgary's playing better hockey again. The people they expect to put the puck in the net are starting to do that. The question's going to be, can they get goals as well? Or can they get saves right now consistently from Vladar and from Markstrom? And they've been rolling with Vladar because they're giving Markstrom right now this little time to just, hit the reset button and try to get his game back. Hopefully the extended rest will help him do that. They haven't decided who they're going to go with in goal. You know what? I'm going to go with Calgary here, team total. I'm going to make that official, even at -139 at Pinnacle right now. I think that's it's either that or puck line if you're going to take Calgary, because I do think I want to get on Calgary in some form. I know there's that sentiment and that angle of the pride that sets in for a team that got embarrassed the night before, like Columbus did against Buffalo, but you got to be somewhat capable, competent, structured defensively. Your goaltending's got to at least be average if you're going to have this kind of bounce back spot. There's nothing that suggests that right now for Columbus.
No, agreed. Sad that Voracek might have played his last game, but the key is the 4 defensemen out: Boqvist, Bean, Werenski, Blankenberg. I get it. I'm not going to do that. Again, you nailed it with the embarrassment that Columbus just went through. And now, if anybody wants to be prepared for a hockey game, it's anybody on that squad that likes Johnny Gaudreau. And if they like him, they're going to fight for him in this game against his old team. But I can understand you trying to find a way in the
6 goals for Calgary, by the way, in both meetings last year against Columbus, just so you know.
Yeah, and your angle makes sense. It's juicy, but it makes sense. Bobano is on the Flames team total over 3.5. Our guy, thankful for your membership, know something, has a question for us that I didn't mean to bypass here, and let me just go up to it. He says, why aren't the Sabres favored to win if they are an offensive powerhouse?
That's another reason, by the way, why I went team total. People asking, the puck line looks so good. I mean, they've been dominant on the puck line against Columbus. Yeah, but I worry that you might get 2 goals out of Columbus tonight. And look, Gaudreau's going to be wanting to make an impact somehow. And I just would rather take out of the equation what Calgary does defensively and their goaltending tonight against Columbus. Focus on Calgary scoring 4 goals. That's why I'm going team total as opposed to puck line.
Yeah, no, I get it. But to answer, you have now 2 questions. So something. The first question, I'll answer the second question first. Don't make safe bets. I think that you should never, ever turn a dog into a favorite. Ever. Black and white, never do it. So, no, a safe bet, turning the puck line, I wouldn't do it. Also, you got to think about who the Sabres face with their being an offensive powerhouse. The Penguins are, Sully is the second longest tenured coach or the longest tenured coach in the NHL. And you have a captain who is, I know we call Johnny Taves Captain Serious, but Crosby runs a tight ship and he expects accountability defensively from forwards and defensemen. Well, forwards, most importantly to him. And they just run a tight ship. And so,
I think he's second longest tenured, Sullivan.
I believe so.
Cooper has been with Tampa Bay longer than Sullivan's been with Pittsburgh.
Yeah, I believe he's second as well. But the issue here is it's just not the right matchup. That's why you see the market moving towards Pittsburgh. We don't want Pittsburgh as a big favorite here, but I understand why the market's moving towards them. If I had a free bet, it'd be on Pittsburgh -1. Buffalo feels very good about themselves. They had an offensive outburst and look, Pittsburgh 7-5-2 on the road. Sabres are 6-8-1 at home. You can tell why there is an advantage there. Yep. So, yeah. And Dan Kelly says this is just long run smart. In the short run, you can always get lucky. Yes, it's always about the long run. This is a marathon, not a sprint. It's always about us getting better and better and better. But feel free to ask a question anytime you know something, and if we catch it, we will answer it, my friend. But yes, let's move on. So we have Bobano making moves on these first 2 spots. He's on the over 6.5 at -125. That was the cheapest line we could find for that over that's being hammered in Penguins Buffalo. And he's on the Flames team total over 3.5. Let's move on. We move on to 7 p.m. Eastern. New York Islanders 16-11-0, 7-6-0 on the road at the New Jersey Devils, 21-4-1, 10-3-1 at home at the Prudential Center in Newark, New Jersey. Sorokin, a spectacular goaltender. He's been excellent again this year. Elite, 10-8-0, 2.33 goals against average, 927 save percentage, 2 shutouts. And all of a sudden, the New Jersey Devils have goaltending in Vitek Vanacek, and they have become the best team, arguably, with the Bruins in the NHL. New Jersey power play, 20.7%. That sounds pretty good, but that's the hockey from 8 years ago. 20.7% power play puts you in the bottom third of the National Hockey League because power plays are exploding. Both teams have good penalty killing, though. The Islanders always do. And here we have the Devils as well. Yeah, Guillermo, man, I was thinking about you. That was just shock and awe, man. Shock and awe watching what happened last night. I just, and when it all came down to that game, Dennis Garcia was right. You just take McVay over McDaniels.
Yeah,
that's it. But that was tough one for you guys. You deserved a better fate. Here, the Islanders coming off their third loss in 4 games, 7-4 at home to the Blues on Tuesday night. That's a rarity, seeing them lit up like that. And I know they're going to come in focused. My first instinct was I want to back the Islanders here. But that is a dodgy thing against the Devils. I also knew that people have made a ton of money on the Devils and they would get hammered all day, which is what's happening here. The Devils coming off their second straight win, 3-0 at home to the Blackhawks on Tuesday night. Mike M looking at the under here, North Ender looking at the under. Those are both angles that I like. I realize, though, as the market moves so quickly towards the Devils, that if I wanted the Islanders to come in sharp, I would take them first period. And that does interest me some. This line opened up with the Devils minus 176. They're up to minus 212. I mean, we're talking 36 cents at Pinnacle. From a total perspective, it opened up at 6, slightly juiced to the under. It is still slightly juiced to the under. There's been really no movement there. Take it away for us here, Bobano. Islanders, Devils.
Yeah, I mean, the Devils, there's no bargains anymore with this team, not when you're 21-5. Not when you've got a huge betting bandwagon, which this team absolutely does, based on their exemplary level of play for the last month or so. That's just the way it is. And they seem to take money more often than not on day of the game, overnight, whatever the case may be. It's happened again here. I'm passing on the game. I just don't want to step in front of New Jersey, but man alive, I mean, you got to expect the Islanders are bringing it tonight after what happened against St. Louis. And they're not going to be all that enthused about giving up 7 goals in that game. When's that happened to Ilya Sorokin this year? Not often that this team has played that badly on the defensive end. And there were breakdowns galore in that game. It was rather shocking to see it from the Islanders, especially against a Blues team that was struggling mightily and was on the second night of back-to-back games. They played against the Rangers the night before. So that was a stunning turn of events for the Islanders that they played that poorly. You got to believe they play a lot better here. They actually have won 4 of the last 5 meetings, 3 of the last 4 rather, against the Devils, although the Devils beat them in the one and only meeting earlier this year, 4-1 earlier this season. So there's really no need for me to bet. I mean, I just don't want to go against New Jersey that much, but I do think you're going to get a tough game thrown at them by the New York Islanders off one of their worst losses in quite some time.
Yes, I agree with that. And I also agree with the under, although I'm much more likely. I'm going to bet the Islanders first period. That's a decision I made, but I'm going to wait and make sure that this hits its peak. I don't know if it has hit its peak with all the Devils money coming in, but let's just.
One of those games, if the Devils win, doesn't shock me. If the Islanders pull the upset, it doesn't shock me because I think they're bringing a good effort here tonight.
Yeah, and the Islanders, I think if the Islanders do come out fired up, but I do think the under is alive. I mean, they'd played 3 straight unders before that 7-4 loss. The Devils have played 2 unders, but they'd played overs before that. I do kind of like it. There's my guy, Lamont Williams, in the house. Great to see you, Lamont. Slatsy saying Sorokin confirmed, Vanacek probable. First period will be bet by me on the Islanders. The question is, do I add the under 6? And I may add the under 6. Bobano staying off this spot. Let's move on. 7 p.m. Eastern. Seattle Kraken 15-7-3, 8-1-1 on the road at the Washington Capitals. 12-12-4, 7-4-1 at home. Capital One Arena in Washington, D.C. For those of you joining us late, we're moving into college basketball after this breakdown of the NHL card with Bobano, and then it's Fresh Fridays with DutchBoyFresh for NBA. And is it correct that you guys aren't doing a college basketball show today, Bobano? It's all here.
Stay fresh, stay blessed. Yes, we are. We are not doing a net profit show today. Once again, we didn't have one yesterday. We not having one today. Makes sense. It's a very, very short card. Very, very short. To make it up, we try to make these shows usually an hour. I mean, we're stretching it this kind of card out to a 1-hour show yesterday and today would have been difficult. So no shows. We will be back Monday, though. Monday to Friday at 5 p.m. Eastern. It'll be back on Monday. And we will have our first Saturday edition of College Basketball Net Profit tomorrow morning, 10 a.m. with me, with Connor Mack. And joining us every Saturday as well will be Dabby Cab. So looking forward to that.
Yeah, that's fun. And then Dabby Cab has a live bet stream for Alabama, Houston at 2:45 that rolls into UFC 282. So your NCAA breakdowns right here in about 30
That's
minutes,
right.
25 minutes.
The only place to see him today is right here. Yep.
Seattle Kraken 15-7-3, 8-1-1 on the road. What a spectacular road record. Washington Capitals 12-12-4, 7-4-1 at home. They're playing better hockey right now. Capital One Arena in Washington, D.C. I need them to fail miserably before they get their reinforcements because I'm on them to not make the playoffs at plus 130, which I'm very comfortable with. And I'm on them to go under, I think it's 93.5 points. I'd have to double check it. Grubauer and Kemper is what I've got listed. Kemper's being hurt. So is Kemper back? Because that was listed yesterday. Do you have that as well, that Kemper is back from injury?
As far as Kemper goes, no, he's not playing tonight. He is still day-to-day. He is. I'm just trying to see, is he available? They say sidelined upper body. Not sure if he would be available tonight, but he's not starting. It's Charlie Lindgren again.
Okay, we have Lindgren again going up against possibly Grubauer again. He's not getting many starts, but he's still listed as a number one. So books and places have him listed. Seattle power play at 25%, penalty killing at 68.3%. Could very much be the downfall of this club as games get more serious as we move forward throughout the season. Washington power play at 21.2%, penalty killing at 80.3%. Kraken coming off their second straight loss, 4-2 at home to Montreal on Tuesday night. The Capitals coming off their second straight win, 4-1 at the Flyers on Wednesday night. Let's take a look at the line history here for this one, and we have these Capitals opening up at minus 137. They're now at minus 125. So a slight move towards the Kraken. From a total perspective, it opened up at 6, slightly juiced to the over, and it has not moved. Take it away for us, Bobano. Kraken, Capitals.
So this one is very goaltending dependent. If we do see that Grubauer's in, I'll be absolutely looking at Seattle as a dog because I still think Seattle's the team I like more than Washington right now. If it's Jones in net for Seattle, that's probably an over bet for me in this game because Martin Jones is back to beach ball Martin Jones at the moment where he can't stop one. He has not been good. He's been trending downward now with his play for about a good solid week or two, going back to that crazy game we remember with the LA Kings where it ended 9-8. He's been giving up, 5, 8, 4. I mean, 4 goals or more regularly in recent starts for Martin Jones. So I definitely like the over if it's him in net. I like the Seattle side if it's Grubauer in net. And also Grubauer against the team he started his career with, the Washington Capitals as well. So a little incentive there. Seattle's not playing as well. I mean, you're seeing their play drop a little bit. Remember they had that red-hot run? Well, now all of a sudden they've lost 2 in a row against Florida and Montreal at home. That being said, I have been beyond impressed with this team on the road, and they're a team I want my money on, not against on the highway. 8-2 on the road this year, the Seattle Kraken. They actually have played their absolute best hockey all season away from home. So the only hang-up is if it's Martin Jones in net, I don't want Seattle with him in net right now. I've seen it too much lately. Bad goals, long shots from the point with no traffic, no screen or getting through him. That's bad goaltending. Juicy rebounds being spit back out into the slot. That's bad goaltending. Through the wickets with a couple of these goals. That's bad goaltending. The bad Martin Jones is back. I don't want my money on that guy right now. But you give me Grubauer, I like Seattle. But we'll have to wait on that.
These teams met last week in Seattle. Seattle winning 3-2. Matty Beniers scored the overtime goal right off the hop, but it was 2-0 Washington after the first period. Ovechkin, I was railing on him for his plus-minus. He's been better since then, since my monologue on how bad. He was a +3 in the Flyers game just on Wednesday night, and 2 goals as well. So he's starting to be a little better defensively, and these guys are going to get reinforcements. They're going to get reinforcements. And Davfen says Jones versus Lindgren expected. That's what I would expect at this point. I mean, they're just simply not playing Grubauer. But this would be the place to play him. I agree with Bobano. This would be the spot against his old club. So I might wait on that, Davfen, just to see. Slatsy says Tom Wilson back at practice today. What a huge addition that will be. And
Philip Grubauer projected right now, but not confirmed. So we'll see.
Yeah, it's important. Very, very important for game scripting here. Bo Jackson says Kraken could lose their next 2 road games against the Metro. It's just not a place. We've said it all year here on this show or I guess for the last month that the place to fade the Kraken, whether overvalued, is at home. Yeah. On the road at this point, they're running too nice and they're priced appropriately.
8-2 on the road is damn impressive. I got to admit, really well done by them.
Yeah, and one of those losses was. What, in a shootout, right? So
Yep.
101. Let's move on to the next spot on the board, 8:30 p.m. And this one's interesting. You have Winnipeg Jets, Chicago Blackhawks, United Center in Chicago, Illinois. Riddick versus Soderblom. And Riddick's not been good this year. Riddick is a very comfortable fade. And Winnipeg's on the second half of back-to-back after defeating the Blues 5-2 in St. Louis last night, cashing our over. And it's just a tricky sort of a spot. The Blackhawks have been shut out on the road in back-to-back games by identical 3-0 scores. First in Long Island on Sunday, then again in New Jersey on Tuesday, and now they come home. And I guess I have some interest in them early, but I don't want to ever bet the Chicago Blackhawks. But I guess against Riddick, they're a very, very, very difficult team to have any faith in whatsoever in Chicago. But this could be a vulnerable spot for Winnipeg. Chicago opening up at plus 119. They're now plus 124. These are all pinnacle openers. From a total perspective, it opened up at 6.5 and is now at 6. And the juice isn't that big for the over 6. What do you think here of the Jets on a back-to-back here, Bobano? Take it away.
So I love the way the Jets are playing. Love what I'm seeing from them. And, I did have the over with the Jets and the Blues last night, and I'm still mad I didn't bet Winnipeg as well. The only thing that kept me off was St. Louis finally won a game. And, when you're going through a bad streak and you win a game, sometimes you win a couple, get you going a little bit. That did not happen, obviously, with St. Louis last night as they lost to Winnipeg. Just, Rick Bowness is doing a hell of a job. I know Dallas Stars fans that wanted him gone in a hurry out of Dallas. And yet here he is now in Winnipeg. They were thrilled when he wasn't returning after last year, but now all of a sudden in Winnipeg, look, he's regathered the room. They've got the camaraderie back. They got the spirit back. If you watch any of these things they're posting online on Jets social media, Twitter, Facebook, wherever else, they're doing these jacket things at the end of the game. They give the jacket to the player of the game, like the bomber jacket, the jet fighter jacket. Exactly. And they're just doing shit that's, you can tell the room is a lot more together this year for the Winnipeg Jets, and they're playing like it on the ice, and their defensive play is improved by leaps and bounds. Used to be when they had a lead in the road in the third period, it's like, the worst is yet to come for the Jets. Not anymore. They're shutting it down. They're playing good hockey. They're getting outstanding goaltending from Hellebuck this year once again. But this is a dubious spot. They're on a back-to-back on the road. They've had some big games. They played St. Louis. They played Florida, and the return to Winnipeg for Paul Maurice the other night. Now, all of a sudden, you play lowly Chicago. It's definitely got Flat Spot City written all over it from the Winnipeg Jets. And as much as I like the way the team's playing, I'm not taking them in this spot, not at all. What I am taking is the over. That is definitely what I'm looking at because, the Jets, even if they are kind of sleepwalking, if you will, through this game, and that's not a guarantee they will, but just in case they are, I do think you're going to see some goals here from the Jets still because Soderblom is Alex B. Smith. I do the Ice Guys show with him. He calls him Soderbum. Doesn't like him. Doesn't think he's got a huge long-term upside for the Chicago Blackhawks. But they got to put him in there because of their goaltending situation at the moment, which features Peter Mrazek on the IR, Alex Stalock on the IR. They've got no choice. They've got to throw Arvid Soderblom in there every game and hope for the best. But I think Winnipeg can still score 3, 4. Like the one thing about the Jets is their offense is rolling right now. So even in a potential flat spot, I still see the Jets getting 3 minimum here, against this Chicago team. I mean, they've scored 5 goals in 4 of their last 5 games, exactly 5 goals from the Jets in 4 of their last 5 games. So they've been very good offensively. They just put 7 on the board against Chicago when they've met in Chicago just a couple weeks ago, 7-2. They had 4 goals against the Blackhawks November 5th when they played in Winnipeg, 11 goals in 2 games head-to-head for the Winnipeg Jets against Chicago. So I think they get 3 or 4 minimum, but Chicago will score against David Riddick, Big Civ Dave, one of my favorites here for the Winnipeg Jets. And I'm always looking for goals from the opponent every time he's in net. And as good as Hellebuck, the defense has been for Winnipeg, some of the saves made by Hellebuck were saves like, okay, you bailed out your blue line. Okay, you had a bad turnover there. Hellebuck's been that good this year. He bails you out. You put Riddick in that same situation, sudden change turnover in front of the net. He's not bailing you out like Connor Hellebuck sometimes does. So I do think Chicago back home, you should get a little bit of a step-up effort from them. And they are off a shutout loss as well to New Jersey In fact, back-to-back shutout losses. Their offense has been completely dormant the last 2 games. You got to believe if you're Luke Richardson, that's the focus. We've got to do something to jumpstart your offense, and maybe David Riddick can help jumpstart that offense. And I think that's where the focus and the onus will be on for the Blackhawks going into this game. We got to get our goal production going. So I like the over here, over 6, minus 120.
We can get you a minus 113 at Pinnacle. They're dropping this quickly. So we'll give you that over 6 at minus 113 available at Pinnacle. There's still 6.5s on the board. Pinnacle not putting much juice on this one. Bobano is locked in on this. This does not make me comfortable, this spot here. I'm not going to. I mean, the idea that the Blackhawks, who've been so bad, would be, they won 4 of 13 games in regulation at home, would be just plus 125 and then just plus 110 to take them first period, which you would think is a big ballsy play to back a team against the Jets in the first period that's been shut out back-to-back games. And you're only getting that for a risk reward. It means it's probably more likely than one expects, and also it's not a bet I want to make. Let's move on. Next up for us, 9 p.m. Eastern, New York Rangers 13-10-5, 8-4-1 on the road at Colorado Avalanche, 13-10-1, 5-4-1 at home. We're at Ball Arena in Denver, Colorado. Igor Shesterkin, who's not being the Vezina Trophy candidate that he was last year, winner, 12-4-4, 2.58 goals against average, 913 save percentage, 1 shutout. And Alexander Georgiev, who's coming back to earth, but it's also the amount of injuries that he has in front of him is not making it easy on him. Georgiev, 11-5-1, 2.76 goals against average, 918. 2.76 goals against average, 918 save percentage, 1 shutout. Rangers, 22.3% power play, 79.3% penalty killing. Colorado, 30.3% power play. Watch that drop very quickly without McKinnon. 75.9% penalty killing. So I moved on the under 6 at minus 110. I was on the under 6 against Boston with a ton of confidence. And this has already moved to 5.5 at a bunch of books. It's still under 6 minus 115 at Pinnacle, but that's the only book that's showing a 6. The rest have all shown, they're all down to 5.5s and 5.5s at Pick'ems. And this Colorado Avalanche, it's, one of the things, part of it is the personnel, but another part of it is the coach. And Bednar runs a tight ship, and he knows what he has. He knows what he's missing, and he's not to be trifled with. It was, I realized, watching the Dallas Senators game last night, that the Senators probably, or the Dallas Stars, I felt bad for the Senators backers that they didn't get paid out in that one. But DeBoer I just thought after they got shut out by Toronto, DeBoer runs a tight ship. He's an asshole. Bednar is maybe not as much of an asshole, but runs such a tight ship. And I know the way he's going to play with these Avs without the weapons. They're missing so many weapons. So I'm happy I got in on the under 6 at minus 110. I bet it and tweeted it out. Now 5.5 across the board. Take it away for us here, Bobano, Rangers, Avalanche.
Yeah, no question. I mean, we saw right away in that Boston game, it took a while for that first goal to hit the board. It was a scoreless first period with the Bruins and the Avs the other night. They kind of have to try to tighten the ship, tighten it up, and, hope to hang in the game right now, because they can't open it up right now with who's out of the lineup. And I think we saw that on full display the other night against the Boston Bruins. Again, the injury list is mammoth for this team right now. It's 3 starting defensemen out with Byram, Manson, and of course, McDermott. McDermott's more of a, interchangeable defenseman, 6'7" defenseman, but he's out as well. It's really up front. I mean, the center ice position, Darren Helm, Evan Rodriguez, Nate McKinnon, that's 3 centers out for the Colorado Avalanche. When you don't have strength or depth down the middle, that's where you feel it. This is where you even feel the loss of Nazem Kadri, who went to Calgary in the offseason even more with 3 centers out. I mean, it's just very thin up down the middle right now for the Avalanche. That's all there is to it. When you're thin down the middle, you aren't as tightly, you don't win as much faceoffs, you don't possess the puck as much, and that becomes an issue generating your offense and getting it going. When you don't have the puck, you can't score. So that it becomes an issue. Obviously, when you've got multiple centers out of the lineup, like is the case right now for Colorado. So it's just a banged up hockey team. It looks like they've still got Rantanen with Hudon and Newhook. I still say Colorado might really have problems scoring goals, which could include tonight against the Rangers, because you would expect this to be Shesterkin versus the understudy Georgiev, the goaltending matchup. And look, the Rangers got back to one of their best games in a long time against Vegas the other night. That's as good as I've seen the Rangers play in a while. It's a Rangers team that I think is trying to get their get going a little bit. I would only play the Rangers here. But again, we're talking about minus 150. They do look like maybe they've got a little bit of a run that they're starting to put together with beating St. Louis, beating Vegas after a bad streak. You know what that's like. Sometimes you have a bad streak, you win a couple in a row, and then you get hot. Maybe this Rangers team is ready to get hot. Maybe Lafreniere's ready to get hot. This is more of a prop game for me than side or total. Although I lean Rangers, I lean under. I would look at Newhook and Hudon for the Avalanche if you're interested in maybe goal props or point props. These are going to be very small plays for me, as they should be with the player props. But, those are guys that have moved up to the top line with Rantanen. They're not being priced like it. Newhook, the last game, was like plus 400 to score a goal. Hudon, you can get plus 550, plus 600. These are guys playing on the top line. So if anyone's going to put the puck in the net for Colorado, it's these two guys, Hudon and Newhook, playing with Rantanen, flanking him on the top line. And for the New York Rangers, look, I've been waiting. Everybody's been waiting for Alexis Lafreniere to realize the potential, to hit that ceiling that he's got. And I'm not saying that's going to be the case moving forward, but now he's got goals in back-to-back games. Gerard Gallant said earlier this week, we are going to give Lafreniere a lot of rope, a lot of leash, a lot of runway on the top line with Mika Zibanejad here. He's going to play there now. He's going to play there for a while. We're going to give him every chance to get his game going right now. And he's now scored in back-to-back games. I think there's a prop that's got value right now. Lafreniere maybe gets going. He's now scored in back-to-back games, which is the first time he's done that in forever. Playing with Zibanejad on the top line, I think that's a good prop look too.
Part of the reason why Lafreniere has not been scoring, Alexi, is because Hedl is winning 32% of the draws.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, you've hit on that before with me on this show, that the faceoffs have been brutal for them. When you lose faceoffs at the rate they do, you don't have the puck, and when you don't have the puck, you can't get your offense going.
Exactly. So that's really hindered him. Now Hedl's hurt. Again, I like the look, because when I think of, especially Hudon, but when I think of those two young stars, burgeoning stars, I don't think of, they're on the line first line with Rantanen. I think they still have Cale Makar, who can turn it up. He knows he's going to have to be relied upon to deliver offense. So I think those books make sense. Good says, my gut says Avs win tonight. I don't want to, you guys know how I work. Like, I don't want to back the Rangers after a 5-1 win at Vegas on Wednesday night. I'd rather.
And who knows what they did after that game? It is Las Vegas after all. But at the same time, I got too cute the other night. I said, even with the injuries, Colorado lost to Boston 5-1 on the weekend. They're at home this time. This is insane now that it's gotten to plus whatever it was, plus 160 with Colorado as a home underdog there. And I took a small shot with Colorado, and obviously dead wrong. It was all Boston. It's hard to take Colorado right now. It is, after watching that game. It's just very hard for them to compete.
Yeah, it's they're in a tough spot, and I wonder if they'll ever get out of it fully. I really do. You're going to get a huge number, not a huge, but a legit number on them in futures in a month, and I don't even know if it's worth taking, because it's pretty hard to get healthy. It sounds easier than it is. Like, it just, because you keep getting, if you have a ton of injuries, it just sort of sticks around throughout the year. It doesn't just, you don't just get healthier all of a sudden, even though we've seen a couple teams do that. We got Wham Bam in the chat. We gave him love off the top of the show. Now he's here rolling with us.
Birthday boy.
Happy birthday, our guy Wham Bam. So much love for you. Just quality, just absolute quality individual right there.
I got dad, everything, and a great NBA Pub Hub colleague for me on Mondays.
Just quality, just across the board. Just leads by example. I love him dearly. So I moved on the under 6 and minus 110 here in this. It's now 5.5 across the board, and just keep an eye out for Colorado unders. Okay, we move on. 9 p.m. Eastern. This was my over spot. I took the over 6 at minus 110 in Minnesota Wild, Edmonton Oilers. I'm just going to keep betting Minnesota Wild overs. They have electric offensive pieces, and I don't trust their goaltending. And you put that together, you have Kirill Kaprizov, Matt Zuccarello, and you're going to get overs. And the Oilers are a one-line team with if it's Jack Campbell in net, we're laughing. Skinner's been quite a bit better. Marc-Andre Fleury is done. And, we had Terry was in the chat yesterday, And he still thinks the Wild will make the playoffs and go over 100 points. I'm so confident in my under 99.5 points on the Wild. They're just not that good. And they don't have the goaltending. And their defense is not as good as I expected it to be. And with Hartman out, you see how weak they are in the middle. Now, Eric's neck has stepped up. And I wanted him to do this last year. I think he's a great hockey player. And they have size and toughness. And they have a lot of the pieces to be a great hockey team, but they're missing some as well. They had their 4-game winning streak snapped to 5-3 loss at Calgary on Wednesday. Oilers come in off their second win in 3 games, 8-2 at home over the Coyotes on Wednesday night. Edmonton power play, 29.6%. It's dropping a little bit with the need, because a lot of the times you have McDavid and Draisaitl out there for a minute and 20 seconds, and then they get the penalty drawn. Like it's hard when you only have one line of guys going. I mean, when you go down the list of depth there, you get to McLeod, and you're like, oh, but he's hurt too. I mean, you just, and then Hyman, day to day right now, you already got Kane. I mean, I don't know how they're still doing it, but they are still doing it. And we had a question. Mike M wanted to know the line values in Sports Insights. I'm not bothering going to the cash flow. It just doesn't seem to help me at all. And it seems to actually hinder. And the over 6 in the St. Louis game last night was when I told you guys, I was like, look, if I look at the market would have taken me off that. That was getting hammered to the under. It had gone from 6.5 down to 6. And I got the over 6 at -105. Now, it did move up to -115, but I just don't even want to look at where the cash is. But
there you go.
You're
starting to adopt the Ian way of thinking. I love it.
Well, it's just for NHL. I mean, we've seen what I've done in the other sports, right? Yeah. So it's just for
That's
NHL.
True. There's some sports it matters more. I agree.
Yeah. But here, there's very little line value. The highest line value they've given is to the Chicago Blackhawks, and we're talking like 14%. Now that will change as the day goes on and the line moves, but for whatever slivers of line value, they've given the Penguins line value, the Flames, the Devils, the Blackhawks the most, the Oilers, the Bruins, the Sharks, and the Vegas Golden Knights. And we're talking slivers here. Ken Mizrahi, our next football show at this point won't be until Sunday morning NFL Pub Hub that Bobano is our leader of 21 Cappers, and he will be hitting leadoff again for us. So that will be Sunday morning. And Dan Kelly says that's because of the size of the betting market. But I think that it's really helped me in college basketball when we only get a couple thousand tickets in, 2,500 tickets in. But I do understand what you mean, Dan. Okay, so back to this spot here. I got the over 6 at -110. Let's take a look at what the line is right now. Move to 6.5. Oh, no, I got 6.5 at -110. What the hell am I talking about? I got 6.5 at -110. What the hell am I talking about? Edmonton opening up at -120.
I was going to say there's no way a total with these two teams is going to be 6. Yeah,
and it's actually become juiced slightly to the under. Yep. So this is wild. This got up to 6.5 at -132. Wow, I didn't realize that it was on its way down when I bet this, and it's flying down. Wow. So now the under is -109. Wow, interesting. And Mike M saying 98% of cash is on the over, and it's juiced to the under here. Wow. That's wild. That's interesting. That takes me a bit by surprise. Take it away for us, Bobano. Wild Oilers.
I've said this too about the minute, and I'm on the same bet, over 6.5 -104 at Pinnacle with the over here in this game. Looks like the best price currently. Yeah, over 6.5 -104. But I've said, and I'm riding the Minnesota overs as well. I've been doing that now for multiple games. I had the over with the I've had a bunch of them, man. I've had Minnesota, Arizona. I was on the over there. I was on the Minnesota, Edmonton over when they met last week in Minnesota. That ended 5-3. Did I take the one with Minnesota? Yeah, I think Minnesota, Anaheim, I was on that as well. Dallas, Minnesota, I had a small bet on that. I was right back on it very sizably against Calgary. That ended 5-3. So I'm with you. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Ride the streak over 6.5 -104. And this has coincided with the injury of Jonas Brodin as well, who's actually one of the better stay-at-home shutdown defensemen on the Minnesota Wild. He's missed 5 of the last 6 games, and in those 5 games, they all went over the total that he's missed. Actually 6 of the last 7, and they all went over the total: 6-1, 4-3, 5-3, 5-4, 6-5, 5-3. They're not as good a defensive team without him. And they're already a team that defensively it comes and goes. Then you lose Brodin, one of your better shutdown guys, and then it's worse. And you're right, Fleury and Gustafsson, it doesn't matter. Fleury's up and down. And Gustafsson, I don't trust at all. I do not trust Philip Gustafsson one bit to be the goaltender here for the Minnesota Wild on a night-in, night-out basis. Edmonton should score goals. I'm sure we're going to see Skinner again tonight for the Oilers, although Campbell is projected in some sites, so we'll see. Maybe they figure we got to get him in there at some point, Jack Campbell, even though he's struggling, even though Stuart Skinner has been the better option. We'll have to wait and see. This is actually, I believe, the start of a home and home. Yeah, they play in Minnesota right after this on Monday night, these two teams. So, and actually Minnesota, before they host Edmonton on Monday night, they play in Vancouver tomorrow night. So it's a little bit of an interesting schedule there, but they just played last week. It was 5-3. I also want to take Edmonton here because they lost to Minnesota 5-3 last week. They're in a revenge spot here. Again, that was a tough spot too last week. They played in Chicago the night before. Then they went to Minnesota on a back-to-back, and that was Jack Campbell and net, I believe, that game. And it ended up being 5-3 Minnesota that night last week against the Oilers. So Edmonton will probably want redemption. I think Edmonton's starting to play at least a little bit better, aside from that tough spot against Minnesota and the bad game they had against Washington where they got outshot badly. They are still 5-2 in their last 7 games, Edmonton. So they're starting to play better. I kind of want to take the Oilers, but I'm not doing it with Campbell and net. It's got to be Skinner. If it is Skinner, I'll add Edmonton money line as a bet. Regardless of who's in net, both sides, I do like the over here, and that I will make official right now, over 6.5 minus 104.
Yeah, you got it locked in. Does the Wild's, the trends of the Wild just beating the Oilers over and over again concern you
That's
at all?
concerning too. They've just dominated. They've dummied the Edmonton Oilers. There's no question about that. What is it, 7 straight that they've won head-to-head against Edmonton? Yeah, it's been dominance. And it's been in Edmonton as well.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't matter whether it's the XL Energy Center or Rogers Place here in Edmonton. They have dominated the Oilers, 7 straight, including 3 straight in Edmonton.
Yeah, it would be a Wild or no bet, and I kind of like the Wild here, especially after that loss. But I just don't trust the hockey team. And Brodin was such a great salient point you made. By the way, we've been told by both Benjamin and Slatsy that Grubauer is confirmed. Did you want to lock anything in?
Yeah, let's do Seattle now at the underdog price. That's all I was waiting on. And again, he's facing his former team. I think that's significant. They're 8-2 on the road. And they've been playing great. Am I seeing this right? I'm seeing that can't be right. That can't be up to date, can it? I'm just making sure my BetStamp app isn't fucking up on me and giving me a bad price. No, I'm not seeing things. I'm seeing plus 135. Yes. Seattle Kraken at bet 365 right now.
Yeah,
plus 135. I like that. Absolutely.
All right, you are locked in plus 135 for the Kraken. Let's roll on. 3 games left before we get into NCAA basketball, and then Dutch will be joining us for Fresh Fridays here. Let's move on. 9:30 p.m. Boston Bruins 21-3-1, 7-3-0 on the road at the Coyotes, 7-13-4, 1-2-1 at home. Mullet Arena, Tempe. Swayman versus Vejmelka is the set. Swayman 2.63 goals against average, 899 save percentage. He's not looked very good, and it's tough when you are not the starter and you don't know when you're going to be in. And Ullmark has been spectacular. Vejmelka is a good goalie, 6-7-3, 3.03 goals against average, 912 save percentage. Don't judge him by his numbers because who's playing in front of him is weak. Arizona's power play was very strong to start the year, and it's falling off. It's interesting that it's falling off with Chikrin back from injury, but it's happening. So he's, I guess, messed up some of the rhythm of that power play because it was very strong to start the year. Their penalty killing's been weak all year. Boston's just, they have no holes. They have no holes. This hockey team is extremely good. 28.4% power play, 85.3% penalty killing. Come off their 4th win in 5 games, 4-0 Colorado on Wednesday night. Coyotes come in off their 6th straight loss, 8-2 at Edmonton on Wednesday night. It's tough. I don't see the value in fading Arizona ever. It's just the market has adapted immediately to how bad they are, and they looked okay off the top. Boston opening up at minus 297. They've taken 43 cents. They're now minus 340. This total opening up at 6 as a pick'em is still there. Take it away for us, Bobano. After this, 2 more games for college basketball, but here we have Bruins Coyotes.
So there's two schools of thought with Arizona. Number one is they're excited as fuck and happy and thrilled, and they'll be just jumping out of their skates to be back home finally, right? Mullet Arena. It's been over a month since they've been back home. This has been a brutally long road trip to the schedule makers for them to put this pansy arena together and the dressing rooms, and so there's not curtains everywhere like some old 60s house or some shit. I mean, it's just absolutely ridiculous what's going on with this experiment to play in this building, but it is what it is, and that's the reason why they were on the road for a month, so they get the dressing rooms all refurbished and put together properly to make them NHL standard, and that's why they were on the road for so long. So part of me thinks, look, you're going to get a hell of an effort here from Arizona. Part of me thinks, though, they've been on the road for so long now, you're jet lagged, you're back home, distractions and all that, and the usual home game off of the longest road trip you'll ever see, which essentially that was being on the road for over a month, and you don't have a lot left in the tank. So which one is it? And I'm not so sure. I'm not so sure which one it is, whether it's excitement, whether they're going to just be all out balls to the wall effort, terrific energy from this team being back home, or first home game in forever off a long road trip. They've got nothing in the tank. And even if they do have something and a ton of energy and they're fired up and they're excited and they come out strong, they're not better than Boston, not even close. And Boston's not a team I'm really rushing to step in front of. So it's probably going to be a stay away and a stay off game. I mean, obviously Boston is well priced. Even the puck line, you got to lay a price with that. -1.5 on Boston's around -130 in this game. So I don't even think I want to do that. It's probably a pass for me.
Yeah, I have not involved myself, and I don't think any. I certainly have not been on a side in a Arizona Coyotes game all year. So let's move on. Next one, 10 p.m. Eastern. San Jose Sharks 8-16-5, 6-8-0 on the road at the Anaheim Ducks, 7-17-3, 5-6-0 at home. We're at the Honda Center in Anaheim, California, where they haven't been atrocious. They just snapped their 6-game losing streak with a 4-3 overtime victory at home versus the Hurricanes on Tuesday night. This is a team with far more upside than the Sharks. Gibson is showing some signs at times that he could be back to being the goaltender that we remember. I mean, he's not an old guy. He's 28, 29. I mean, I think of him as a 35-year-old goaltender. They have Kaapo Kakkonen listed. I don't know if that will come to fruition here. 3.71 goals against average, 877 save percentage. I'd love to hear if he's confirmed. Thank you for the kind words, Ken and Oz. You guys, thank you. 2 more games here, and then we get into college basketball, and then Dutchy for NBA. San Jose comes in off their 4th straight loss, 6-5 at home in overtime to the Canucks on Wednesday night. The problem with the Ducks here is their special teams are absolutely atrocious. They're so bad. It's funny you take Getzlaf off the ice for the Ducks, and this is where they fall apart, which does make sense from an X's no standpoint. 15.6% power play, 66.3% penalty killing. They're just going to get torched. San Jose, 21.6% power play, 84.3% penalty killing. I think that the Ducks can turn a corner, and I believe in the squad. The problem is that the one spot you probably don't want to fade the Sharks is on the road. At home, they're a glorious fade. But on the road, I don't know if they are. And the market has moved briskly towards the Sharks. I guess not. I thought it was bigger than this. So the Ducks opened up at +102. Now they're +110. From a total standpoint, it opened up at 6.5. Juice to the under -117. Now it's -112. I'd like to back the Ducks, but I don't want my fandom for Mason McTavish and some of their young players and my expectation for them to be better this year to get in the way. But this is a team that's 27 games into the season, but they've only played 11 games at home. I think that their record isn't a true indication of where they're going to end up this year, but I've often been high on the spot. I would like to bet the Ducks. Slatzy saying Sharks 1-8 over the last 9 versus the Ducks. I want to take the Ducks, but they've been so bad. Look, they beat a really good Hurricanes team last out to snap that.
And a goalie that's been red hot for them, the youngster Kochetkov, and they played great. Yeah.
I'm interested. I'm interested in the Ducks. Are you going to lead me towards them?
I'm more than interested. I am on Anaheim here. I love the situation. I love that they're struggling and they finally got a win, and they got a win against a quality opponent, beating Carolina 4-3. Snapping their 6-game losing streak. And you know what I always say, and it didn't happen with St. Louis, we talked about, it doesn't always work out that when you're on a losing streak, you finally snap it, that you go on a little bit of a heater after that. St. Louis showed you last night that doesn't always happen, but it does happen, I find, at least more often than not. We've seen teams like this where they, the Rangers, look at them all of a sudden, right? Terrible losing streak. They've won 2 in a row. Now they beat St. Louis and Vegas. This is a spot for Anaheim, I think, to finally put 2 in a row together on the board in this one. And you mentioned the series history, or I think Slatsy did, and I'm about to mention it. 8-1, the Ducks head-to-head against the Sharks. They've owned this series, believe it or not. And the Sharks favored on the road. No, thank you. They've lost 4 in a row, 1-6 or 1-7 rather in their last 8 games. Kakkonen's been Kaka in net, so if it is him in net, it's not someone I trust. And even if it's not him in net for the Sharks tonight, the backup, Aaron Dell, farmer in the Dell right now, who's the backup, because actually, you know what? They sent him down. Reimer's still on IR. It looks like they've called up E2 Makaniemi here for the for the San Jose Sharks, and he actually entered the game against Vancouver in relief of a struggling Kaapo Kakkonen. So what are we going to get from him? He gave up 2 goals on 8 shots in that Vancouver game, entering the game. It's not like that's exactly a picture of terrific goaltending necessarily from that Finnish netminder who's 23 years old, who in the AHL, his numbers there aren't spectacular by any stretch of the imagination. So, yeah, I like Anaheim here. Slight home underdog in this game. It looks like the best price on them currently, if I check here, is
Plus
around
110.
plus 110 at Pinnacle. Yeah, we'll go with that, plus 110. I also like over the total as well. So it's a side and a total for me that I like. Over 6 here in this one, best price, minus 120 at Bet Rivers. Yeah, over 6, minus 120 at Bet Rivers. Again, I think we'll see goals. Anaheim has trended over 3 straight. San Jose's been an over machine, 6-2 to the over in their last 8 games. 3 straight head-to-head meetings between San Jose and Anaheim have gone over the total, 5-2, 6-5, 5-4. Very high-scoring affairs with these two teams in recent meetings. So Anaheim, small home underdog. I'm on them, and also over 6.
Yeah, I'd like to join you on the Ducks. So we have the one trend. You guys know I'm not a big trend guy here, almost in any sport, but we have a trend. Obviously, the Ducks are beating the Sharks 8 of their last 9, but we also have one from our guy Mike M. Pacific home dogs versus conference opponent, 17-58, and the Ducks are 0-13 in that situation. Stimmy OG on the Sharks money line. I want to back the Ducks. I do think that win is just a huge, huge benefit for this team just walking into the arena.
Yep. It's one thing if they beat Columbus or someone that's, more of a Philadelphia or something, like a bottom feeder. But they beat Carolina. It's a pretty good – Carolina's been playing better lately. And Pyotr Kochetkov was in net, and he's been very strong in the starts he's had. And the fact they won that game against him, that team, and scored 4 goals, that's a positive. That's a positive step for the Anaheim Ducks. So see if they can build on it tonight.
Let's go into our last game in NHL before we hit the college basketball card. We have Philadelphia Flyers 9-13-5, 3-5-4 on the road to Vegas Golden Knights 19-8-1, 7-6-0 at home. I've been repeating their home record over and over and over again. This is where we can fade them. Now, we don't know exactly what's going on with Pietrangelo, but there's a sickness in his family, and he's not going to be playing for a while. We don't know the story behind it, but you take Pietrangelo off the ice, you take Jack Eichel off the ice, now, I still think Mark Stone's the best forward on the team, but you arguably take the best forward, and we know what Theodore is doing. So the second best defenseman off the ice, but a defenseman that you can trust. You take them off the ice, and they're much weaker. They pay their forwards enormous amounts of money, too much money. Remember, it's the most expensive second line in the NHL. Carter Hart 8-8-4, 2.79 goals against average, 9-11 save percentage. Logan Thompson 13-6-0, 2.68 goals against average, 9-18 save percentage. The Flyers come off their 3rd loss in 4 games, 4-1 at home versus the Capitals on Wednesday night. This has been a team that is playing the best that they can possibly play, but they have Tortorella, with his fist up their ass, and they're under pressure because they're a losing outfit, and then they get to fly to Vegas on Thursday night. So I can't say what they did last night or what they wanted to do or how they're feeling.
They're a bad team going nowhere, and they're going to Las Vegas, right? So are they going to focus on preparing for the next opponent, preparing for the next game, or having a shit ton of fun out there? Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. Nats Nate, the taint is in. It's Washington Huskies. We're going to talk about that here in a second when we get through college basketball. But I also don't want the Knights. I don't want the Knights at all. And those of you who back the Rangers, excellent work. I don't want the Knights ever at home. Knights open up minus 255. There's been a move towards the Flyers. They're now minus 238. Totals wise, open up at 6, juice to the over. It's now come back a little bit. So it's now almost a pick 'em. Nice to have Piker, poke rating to 79 in the house. Great to have you. Take it away for us, Bobano. Last game on the card before we move to college basketball. Flyers, Golden Knights.
Yeah, I might move on the Knights puck line, but even then, I'm lukewarm on it right now. And even then, like I said, the price is not the greatest. And I've been burned on some puck lines lately with Vegas as well. It's plus 100 for minus 1.5. Because I remember taking that against Columbus when they were hitting the road off, a couple of losses against Seattle and Vancouver at home. Remember, Vancouver beat them up badly, 5-1 at home. And I said, they're going on the road. They play great on the road. And I think they're going to a chance to just whitewash and annihilate Columbus. And they had a great start, but 3-2 in a shootout they won. They let Columbus back into the game. They didn't keep the hammer down. And if you had the puck line in that game, you lost. Then they lose to Pittsburgh. They did win 4-1 against Detroit, but a lot of their games have been close. 4-3, the big upset against Boston. They lose to the Rangers back home 5-1. It was just such a great spot to go against Vegas with that Rangers team the other night. Which ended up going well. So I don't like it enough to bet it or make it official, and that's Vegas minus 1.5 plus 100. I don't want Philly. You're right. They're struggling mightily right now. The win against Colorado, even that comes with an asterisk because of just how depleted the Avalanche are right now and how much they're struggling at the moment. Look, the work ethics there, and I've said this on a bunch of shows, you know what it is? Philly does a lot of good things, right? They possess the puck a lot. There's been games they outshoot the opponent. They've outshot the opponent in 3 straight games, but they possess the puck. They get nothing out of it. They get barely a good scoring chance out of it, and they just work hard, and they just don't have enough finish. They don't have enough high-end skill to finish off these plays the way they should with this puck possession when they have it. And that's the issue that the Philadelphia Flyers constantly have right now. So a situation where at the moment, this is a Philadelphia team lacking offensively. I would lean under, actually, with our pimp slap man, Mike M, in the chat. But I'm probably going to end up staying off this game side total. If you like Vegas, what I might do is gravitate more toward the first period puck line, because I do remember that Columbus game where they did start strong. They did get out to a 2-0 lead after the first period. And it seems like Vegas, when they want to show up and off a bad game, they kind of show up early and then they take their foot off the gas pedal. So I think the first period puck line with Vegas might be the best option in this game.
That is our NHL breakdown. Big shout out to Twate Latte. Thank you so much for the dono. Much love to you, my friend. What a great guy and great friend. Thank you, Twate. All right, let's review all action here in NHL. We open up with Bobano on the over 6.5 in Pittsburgh, Buffalo. Then Bobano is on the Flames team total over 3.5 at minus 139. That Pittsburgh Buffalo being hammered in the market. We found them over 6.5 at minus 125, but there's a lot of minus 140s out there, and some books have moved to 7. I'm going to be on the Islanders on the first period, but I'm going to wait. I'm going to wait. Wait. Market hammering Jersey right now. I think the Islanders bounce back from that 7-4 loss at home to the Blues on Tuesday night. I expect them to be ready to go early, and I have some interest in the under 6. Bobano's on the Kraken at plus 135 since Philip Grubauer was announced in. He's on the over 6 in Winnipeg at Chicago. I moved on the under 6 in Rangers, Colorado Avalanche. Start betting the Avalanche unders with me. We cashed on the Bruins Avalanche under. We got this at 6 this morning, and it's already at 5.5 with all the books. Both Bobano and I are on the over 6.5 in Minnesota, Edmonton. The market is moving towards the under. All the money's on the over, and I don't care. I'm not going to care about these things with totals. With sides, I will, but not with totals. I've been staying off of totals because of market movement, and they've all been cashing if I had moved on them. So I don't get. And I would have been off the St. Louis total last night. Market was moving heavy towards the under. I got that over 6 at minus 105. That had been 6.5. There's our guy Fap Win in the house. Look at that. And I'm telling you, nobody catches more who drops action on us than Fap Win. I'm going to copy and paste that for us. A third period over 1.5 in Montreal, LA. Bruins, Coyotes, we've stayed off. Bobano's on the Ducks at plus 110 and the over 6 at minus 120. I want the Ducks to. I think that win against the Hurricanes changed things. Mike M. Pimp Slap play today's on the Las Vegas Philadelphia Flyers under 6. And that is our NHL breakdown. All right, let's move on to college basketball. A nice 2-1 day yesterday. We lost with Ohio State first half -3.5, but we cashed with the Utah smash and grab. First half -9, full game -15.5. It was just such a sit back and relax and count cash situation. And again, the angle here that's been working so well for us is, when is a team going to be alert against a weak opponent? It's when something's gone wrong the game before. And they had 19 turnovers. And when they barely beat Washington State, now they were dogs in that spot, 1 point dogs or something, but 19 turnovers. The last time Utah had 19 turnovers, Craig Smith laid into them, and they were awesome the next few games. Awesome. Cashing, covering, cashing. And it led all the way up to us, to them beating Arizona outright when we had, I didn't take them on the money line, but when we had them against Arizona. So just that angle. When is a team going to be sharp against a weak opponent? Is keep that angle's just been working. We're looking very good in college basketball so far this year. I'm 25-13, 65.8% plus 10.65 units ROI plus 28.03% average line -110. Bobano 16-10, 61.5% plus 4.83 units ROI plus 18.58% average line -112. Let's get to work. There's you Capper in the house. Been too long, you Capper. Thank you for the kind words of on Polo, and let's go. And only one game for Billy Friedrich here. Let's copy and paste that. He's looking at the Grambling Vandy first half under. We already have the Taint play of the day as well in here. So let me just get that here for the Vandy spot. That is our 6th game on the card. We have 10 games here that we are attacking. We have 43 minutes to do it before NBA starts with DutchBoyFresh. Let's get to work, Bobano. Yep. We start at 6 p.m. Eastern. The Stony Brook Seawolves, 2-6, 0-4 on the road at the Bryant Bulldogs, 6-3, 2-1 at home. We're at Chase Athletic Center in Smithfield, Rhode Island. Stony Brook is 0-6 this year against Division I opponents, and each loss had been by double digits before they came close in the 77-72 loss at home to Yale on Saturday as 15-point dogs and showed us something. But those 2 wins were against Div 2 spots. Let's take a look at the line history here. This opened up with Bryant as 13-point favorites. We've gone down to 12. So we're down to 12. This total opened up at 150 and it's dropped to 149. We often like to look at Bet Online as well as Pinnacle because Bet Online gets their action out earlier. And that same deal. Open up at 13, and down to 12. So it's all the same here with the side and the total. All right, let's go over here. Okay. Now, they did open up the total at 151.5 in comparison to Pinnacle opening it up at 150. Let's take a look at the cash flow here and see if there's any here because it's not these aren't big games. Let's see. We have no help. 1,165 tickets in and no help. That's fine. Bryant comes in off their second straight loss, 97-71 at Cincinnati as 12-point dogs on Sunday. So they went in Cincinnati, big crowd, and they struggled. They shot 29.9% from the field, 20.5% from three. Now they get to come home. And we ask, when is a team going to be sharp? When is a team? Well, after a horrific performance. So they don't care that Stony Brook's coming in. They got to get right here, and this is their opportunity to do that. In saying that, I'm not rushing to bet the Bryant Bulldogs as double-digit favorites. Take it away for us, Bobano. Seawolves, Bulldogs.
I'm considering it. I am with Bryant. Not strong enough to make that official. And Bryant always gravitate to the over with them as well. Because if Bryant's going to win and Bryant's going to cover, they're going to get their pace. They play at warp speed, number 3 in the country in tempo and possessions per game. Fun team to watch. Jared Grosso's got a fun system that he's got there. They just go up and down. They take the first shot that they can find, first open shot that they can find. They've got obviously littered with great players that can find the bucket. Earl Timberlake, Antoine Walker, outstanding. They got, of course, Doug Eddard, who stole people's imaginations and hearts with St. Peter's last year in the NCAA tournament. So, no, it's a really, really good basketball team offensively, and certainly we get them in a spot where you would expect the focus to be. Stony Brook's been banged up. Gino Ford's made no ifs, ands, or buts about it. He's had a banged up basketball team, and it's shown in their results. Only 2-6 to begin the season straight up. They were a little bit better last time against a solid Yale Bulldogs team. 77-72, competitive in defeat, but still, it's not a team that's playing great. I'm definitely leaning, at least right now, Bryant and the over. The thing that's about the over that I might be concerned about is Stony Brook slowing it down, which they are definitely going to look to do. They're only 226 in the country. They are an offensive team that sometimes struggles, but defensively, they really have issues. 338 in the country in terms of defensive efficiency for the Stony Brook Seawolves, which definitely is not very good. And this Bryant team definitely should be able to make them pay a little bit here on the defensive end. And they're not particularly great offensively either. So this really could get away, in my opinion, from Stony Brook. I definitely lean to the home favorite.
Yeah, if I was going to take Bryant, I would take them first half. Stony Brook showed fight against Yale.
Yep.
And I guess I can leave that as a lean. I guess that sort of makes sense here that, they bounce back off the horrific shooting performance at Cincinnati. I guess. But Stony Brook did show something in that last game, and they've been god-awful against Division I opponents so far this year. So I'm going to stay off at this point, but you know what? I should take the asterisk off. I'm thinking about Bryant first half. Let's move on. Next up for us, 7 p.m. Eastern, Binghamton Bearcats, 3-6, 1-2 on the road at Fordham Rams, 9-1, 8-0 at home. Fordham is playing really good basketball, but no one's going to watch them. No one's going to the Bronx. No one's going to Rose Hill to watch it. They had 660 in that last win Tuesday night, 72-59 home win at Wagner. It's too bad. They're playing really, really good basketball. Let's take a look at the line history here for this one. Move over here and see where the cash lies. We have Fordham opening up at minus 12.5. They're now minus 13. I believe BetOnline opened them lower than that. Yes, BetOnline opened them at minus 11.5, and they're minus 13. Total opened up at BetOnline 135.5, and it shot up to 137. And Pinnacle 135.5, and it's at 136.5, but it's quite juiced to the over. Take a look at the cash flow here for this one, and we have 1,774 tickets in, 86% of tickets, 94% of the cash on Fordham. 90% of tickets, 89% of cash on the over. So at least we see the market moving in both of the directions where all the money is coming in. Binghamton comes in off their 4 straight loss, 81-62 at home to Colgate on Wednesday night as 12-point dogs. But Fordham rolling. Their only loss this year came in their second game of the season at Arkansas. I mean, who can blame that? Yep. They've won 8 straight. They come in off that 72-59 win it was actually at Wagner. Why did I think it was at home? I'll have to double check that. As 8.5-point favorites on Tuesday. I think they were at home. Do you have that in front of you?
Yeah, that was a home game.
Oh, it's a home. Okay, cool. Because I had the attendance figures on it. I knew it was a Rose Hill there. Take it away for us, Bobano. Bearcats, Rams.
Yeah, and they're facing a hideous defensive team in Binghamton, who are 351 in defensive efficiency this year. That's beyond bad. And as we've seen in their results this year, Binghamton, again, struggling to get stops on the defensive end. They've had some rough games. I mean, 84 against Loyola, Maryland, 79 against Columbia, 81 in their last game against Colgate. It's just not a very good defensive team. And, Fordham, you compare these two teams, Fordham's 108th in terms of defensive efficiency. And it's something about that, the difference in defensive ability is that Binghamton hasn't even faced a tough schedule. I mean, they've played Marist, Sacred Heart, Columbia, LaSalle, Loyola, Maryland, Stonehill. I guess Colgate and Maryland are the two tough teams they've played. As for, Fordham, they've faced a decent Tulane team. They faced Arkansas, and obviously that's the game they got drilled. But still, these are comparable schedules. And yet Fordham is still much the better team defensively than Binghamton. It's not even close. We've seen them on this home floor here do a pretty good job. They beat Wagner by 13, Tulane by 5, Maine by 5, Harvard by 8, Stonehill by 11. Holy Cross by 14, UIC by 14. The one concern is, we've only seen them win by more than this margin, Fordham, on their home floor a couple of times. A lot of these home wins have been single digits or a little less than 13. So, but I don't want Binghamton, so I'm not probably going to bet it, but I would absolutely lean to the home favorite here, Fordham.
Billy Friedrich is using Stonehill as a common opponent. They both played him at home. Binghamton lost by 3, Fordham won by 11. I agree with Bobano. Clearly, Fordham 8-0 at home is a better squad, but do I want them to cover this margin? Late to the party here. It's moved to a point where I'm not interested. And unlike that Bryant first half, I have an angle on. Yep. I mean, they just went into Cincinnati and shot horribly.
Yep.
and they're a good basketball team. So the more I think about it, the closer I'm getting to Bryant first half. Let's move on to 7 p.m. Eastern. Next up for us, Fairleigh Dickinson Knights 4-6, 1-5 on the road at Columbia Lions 4-8, 4-2 at home. New York City, New York. Love these New York squads here. Okay, let's lock this in. Line history first up. We have Columbia opening up as a 1-point favorite. They're now 1-point dog. Let's see what BetOnline did here. They had 1.5-point favorites, and now Columbia is a 1.5-point dog. So even money line will give us a better. Oh no, they have not offered that on the money line. Let's see if Pinnacle did. This was just. Yeah, they have. So the Columbus opening up. Sorry, Columbia. Wow, that's wild. I thought. The money line doesn't really make sense because the money line's actually moved. It just moved a minute ago. There a 10-cent move to Columbia 1 minute ago, 12:25 p.m. Eastern. There's been a 10-cent move at Pinnacle, so Columbia getting bet once again. Take a look at the cash flow here for this one. 811 tickets in. They've given Columbia a slight line value, a legitimate line value here. The most Arkansas State and Columbia have the most line value here. We have no information on the spread, but 67% of the tickets and 78% of cash on the under. 67 and 78. This total has shot up to 155 from 152. So that is confusing. Fairleigh Dickinson snapped their 3-game losing streak in a 97-80 victory at St. Joseph's as 12-point favorites on Saturday. They shot 57.6 from the field, 50% from three in the win. Columbia had their modest 2-game winning streak snapped in a 73-66 home loss to UMBC as 8-point dogs on Tuesday night. So, the Knights have the freshness advantage, but, are they going to come in here to Columbia and shoot 57.6 from the field and 50% from three again? And that was a pretty impressive performance at St. Joseph's. Take it away for us here, Bobano. Knights, Lions.
Yeah, I like over the total. This one was be my first official play here on the show today. I think you'll see a lot of points between these two teams. When you look at Columbia, they play very fast. So does Fairleigh Dickinson. They're inside the top 100 in terms of tempo, and neither team is good defensively. Fairleigh Dickinson is dead last. I think it's 363 in terms of the number of teams in Division I college basketball. They're 363 defensive efficiency. I mean, they are really porous, at the defensive end of the basketball court. And Columbia struggled at times offensively. So that's always been the issue. Columbia games that stay under, usually, okay, they play fast, but they don't score enough, and they turn the ball over and too many empty possessions. And that's what leads to the under. But I think in this spot, you're playing the dead last worst defensive team efficiency-wise right now in Division I college hoops. This should be a spot where Columbia can get things rolling offensively, especially on their home court. I mean, we're seeing them, they give up just ridiculous number of points, this Fairleigh Dickinson squad. Going to get pace on their side. Columbia, too, not a great defensive team by any stretch. And Fairleigh Dickinson is very capable, at the offensive end going into this game. And what's very significant, too, is going into this matchup here, you've got a Fairleigh Dickinson team with a good amount of size down low, take advantage of Columbia. Their interior defense has been weak. So, I think Columbia will finally get their offense on track against Fairleigh Dickinson, but you'll see them, FDU, put up enough points as well. The total's been bet up already, but I think it's been bet up for a very good reason. I like over the total here.
And it's being pushed higher. Right now, you can get 154 at a lot of books, but Pinnacle's moved it to 155, and other books will follow suit. But we can get you the 154, and it's a minus 110. You're not getting a discount on any of them.
Yeah, 154 minus 110. Yeah, that looks like about as good as we're going to get right now.
I'm going to move on Columbia. I do not expect the shooting that Fairleigh Dickinson showed at St. Joseph's. Now, that was their first road win of the year, and maybe that gives them confidence. But I like what Columbia did, at UMBC. 8-point dogs. They played well. That was Tuesday night. Now they get right back at it on Friday. I'm going to move on Columbia. And wow, I love that. Croatia, all of us, because Flash gave us we all bet Argentina futures. Croatia has tied it up. I like the sounds of that. Let's knock Brazil out. That'd be fucking magic, dude. Okay, we'll move on. 7 p.m. Eastern. Dartmouth, 4-6, 1-2 on the road at Central Connecticut. 0-9, 0-3 at home. We're at William H. Dietrich Gymnasium in New Britain, Connecticut. Let's start with the line history here in this spot. We have a move to the under. Let's see what's going on with the spread. Dartmouth opening up at -1.5, -108. They're now -1.5, -119, or -2. This last 11-cent move towards Dartmouth happened 5 minutes ago at Pinnacle. So a big move 5 minutes ago at Pinnacle on Dartmouth. From a total situation, it's all the way down to 130 from a 133.5 opener. Let's see what BetOnline did with this one. Here, BetOnline opened Dartmouth at -2, so there's been no move really. It went down to -1, but it's back to -2. Interesting. And from a total perspective, they opened it at 132, now down to 130.5. Huh. And Pinnacle opened at 133.5 at 8:12 a.m. So the initial move, because this came out yesterday afternoon at BetOnline. Oh, of course, and there it is right there. Sorry, I had to figure this out. The initial move was to the over. This got up to 134 at 7:15 a.m. So there's been there would be a 5-point move. This got down at 11:28 this morning. This was down to 129. So there had been a 5-point move to the under in 4 hours. Wow. Okay. Let's take a look at the cash flow here for this one. Dartmouth, Central Connecticut. We have 709 tickets in and no help. No help there. Dartmouth had their 2-game winning streak snapped in a 68-52 home loss to Vermont on Tuesday night as 4-point dogs. They did not look good. They shot 38.2% from the field and 20% from three. Very ugly performance. Now we go into 0-9 Central Connecticut, 0-3. They opened the season, of course, with 9 consecutive losses, but 6 of them have been by single digits. 4 of them have been by 6 or less. They come off a 63-57 loss at Holy Cross, but Holy Cross is terrible. That was a pick'em. They shot 35.3% from the field and 24% from three as well. Both teams coming off shooting terribly. Who do you expect to turn it around the quickest? Well, let's ask Bobano for that. Dartmouth, Central Connecticut, take it away.
Yeah, this is a pretty tough game. I mean, you got 2 lousy defenses and I think 2 worse offenses. So what are you going to trust here in this game to who's going to step up in this one? Pick them, 2 bad teams. Not really interested, honestly. Easy pass.
Would you agree, though, that Dartmouth, at home losing to Vermont badly, they go on the road, that there's a higher expectation of them to turn it around than there is with Central Connecticut?
Central Connecticut's horrible. All right, horrible. I mean, there's no backing them for me. None at whatsoever. It's a bottom-of-the-barrel D1 basketball team. There's no question about that. That being said, Dartmouth's laying points on the road, and Dartmouth's going to be one of the worst teams in the Ivy League, in my opinion, this year. So it's not like we're saying this team's leaps and bounds better than Central Connecticut right now. And if you look at their offensive numbers, they're actually worse than Central Connecticut's. And you got to make shots if you're going to go on the court on the road and win games as a road favorite. And I just don't know if they will. These are 2 bad teams. I don't want to trust either one.
Yeah, I'm comfortable staying off. Lots of other opportunities here. Let's move on. 7 p.m. Eastern. Queen's University Royals making their Div 1 debut this year, and they've looked very good. 7-2, just 1-2 on the road. At High Point Panthers, who have also, God, these guys have been good. 8-1, 5-0 at home. We're in High Point, North Carolina for this one. Let's take a look at the line history here. Queens, High Point. We have, move this here. The total's been hammered to the over. Queens opening up as 6-point dogs, now 4.5-point dogs. Let's take a look at BetOnline. They opened up Queens. Whoa, a completely different situation. So they opened up Queens at +3.5, and Queens gets bet up to 6.5. So they open up, turn it around. They open up a High Point at -3.5. High Point goes up to -6.5. So you have to think that the early sharp money was all over High Point, and then it was deemed too high, and it's come back. So that's fascinating. If we only looked at Pinnacle, it wouldn't tell that story. BetOnline opening this up at 151. It got up to 155 at 9:30 this morning. It's back to 154.5. And I'm sure Pinnacle opened it. No, Pinnacle opened it this morning at 151.5. So that move to the over all came this morning. Let's take a look to the cash flow here in this one. We have 1,013 tickets in. All we know is the cash for the spread, and it's all over High Point, 91% of the cash. Then you have 75% of the tickets and 98% of cash on the over. and we've seen it climb. It looked like it hit its peak and has dropped a point since. Queen comes in off their second straight win, 89-68 at home over Div 2 Payne Lions on Saturday night. But that came on the heels of a 72-66 road win at Bowling Green as 1.5-point dogs in very impressive fashion. High Point comes in off their fifth straight win, 85-82 at Furman on Tuesday night as 12.5-point dogs. Shoot 59.3% from the field and 64.7% from three. 64.7% from three. Hard to expect them to be able to continue that incredible prowess from the perimeter. Take it away for us, Bobano, Queens, High Point.
Yeah, this is another over the total for me with these two. Again, you've got two very good offensive teams, two excellent pace teams, and I think you're going to see that on full display. They both like to get up and down. They're blistering good in transition. And it's funny because both of these teams actually at times struggle against transition. Look, High Point, very, very solid in my opinion. And look, remember, Tubby Smith used to coach High Point. It's actually his son right now, Gigi Smith, that's coaching them. And Tubby always played, basically, he didn't really play high-paced basketball. His son is, and they're really just pushing the ball, and there's been a slow adjustment to it in terms of the totals involving High Point, and I've been able to take advantage of that. Queens is a newbie to Division I college basketball. It's their first year in Division I for them, and they have been very, very push the ball, full court press type of style, and speed up the other team. And the thing is, too, High Point has had issues with turnovers at times, so that could play into Queens' high pressure style. Easy baskets for them, good pace both sides. Total 154. Let me just check to see if we can get anything better. I think that's about as good as it's going to get. Yeah, 154 right now, minus 112 at CoolBet is the best we're going to get with that total. But I like it over 154 here, Queens High Point.
You got it. What do you think? Can you talk to me sort of your thoughts on how this spread moved up to 6.5 and came back? I mean, clearly at some point that was too high. We see all the money coming in at High Point. What would be the number for you to back Queens University here?
Not 4.5. Not 4.5 because High Point, again, out of the Big South, they've been very good this year. You mentioned the home court success; it's been there for this team. I'd certainly need more than 4.5. Optimally, Queens is actually a team I've looked to back a couple of occasions this year. Like for a new team in Division I college basketball, they've had some competitive results so far. They're 7-2. They had a win on the road against Bowling Green. They beat Green Bay. They beat a Marshall team at home 83-82 in their first game. On the road, probably a little bit more tougher to trust them. They lost to George Mason, LaSalle. They lost by double digits. It's going to be a little bit tougher. High Point's pretty good. I'd probably want optimally 6.5, 7 to get involved with Queens. High Point's really good at home. I just prefer the total rather than the side.
You got it over 154 at minus 110. I'm going to leave Queens as a question mark to see if it can get back up to 5.5 or 6. Because clearly that was a point where it started getting bet down. If people start looking at High Point undefeated at home, 8-1, Queens 1-2 on the road, and it can creep back up there, might be something that I can move on. All right, Res Mob in the house. You were smart enough to tail Tain. I was smart enough to get off Minnesota, but not smart enough to flip. Good call, Res Mob. We are coming up to the Taint play today. It's not far from here, but what we do have is Billy Friedrich. He gave us his lone play in NCAA basketball. It's tonight in the Grambling Vandy game. He's on the first half under 64.5 at minus 110. Let's get into it. Grambling Tigers 5-3, 1-2 on the road. Vanderbilt Commodores 5-4, 3-2 at home. We're at Memorial Gymnasium in Nashville, Tennessee. Let's go into the line history here for this one. Vandy Grambling State. We have Vandy opening up at minus 14.5. It's now minus 14. Let's see if BetOnline did the same. BetOnline opened it up the same, 14. So go back to Penny at 14.5, 14. Total-wise opened up at 137.5, no movement. It did go up a point at one point. And let's see if BetOnline did the same thing. No, BetOnline opened this up at 135.5 yesterday. So it's Pinnacle comes in this morning. BetOnline yesterday afternoon. Pinnacle opening it up much closer to where it is right now. But BetOnline opened this up at 135.5. It was initially juiced to the over, and it got bet towards the over. Let's take a look at the cash flow here and see if it helps us at all with this one. We have 2,230 tickets in, 64% of the tickets, and 93% of the cash on Grambling State. A public dog. 84% of the cash on the under, and yet it's going up. Grambling State comes in off their second straight win, 72-39 at home over Incarnate Word on Saturday's 9.5-point favorites. They'd lost to Incarnate Word, 2 games back, and so there was revenga. Also, there were 343 people watching that game. 7,600 seat Frederick C. Hobdy Assembly Center. Nobody's watching Grambling games at home. Keep that in mind for your capping, because it helps kind of paint a picture and it helps scorecast for you. Vanderbilt comes in off their second straight win and third in 4 games, 75-74 at home versus Pittsburgh on Wednesday night as 3-point favorites. I wonder if this is a tired squad. Grambling much, much fresher. Take it away for us, Bobano. Grambling, Vanderbilt.
Gosh, this is definitely a spot to consider fading Vanderbilt, but I don't like betting these SWAC teams, these MEAC teams. These are bottom of the barrel athletic teams in college basketball. They are. That's just the way they are right now in terms of, and it's often very difficult for them to compete, against the, power conference teams. It just is. Now, having said that, they did shock Colorado 83-74 earlier this year, but they've also had losses by 31 to Arizona State on the road, by 33 to Grand Canyon. Like, they've been utterly annihilated, this team, in a couple of their games on the road. So keep that in mind. Certainly I would lean Grambling here plus the points. It's not a spot to take Vanderbilt. And I was on Pittsburgh. It was best bet for the net profit show the other night. Pittsburgh plus the points against Vanderbilt. Keep betting that Pitt team, by the way. They have turned it around in a big way since they got healthy. But I definitely would want to back or lean to fading Vanderbilt in this spot. I just don't know if I'm going to do it with Grambling. Grambling is athletically inferior, and that's putting it mildly. And they've had some ugly results on the road against teams that are comparable to Vanderbilt. So I'm probably going to pass.
So BetOnline put this out yesterday afternoon. The initial move was to Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt got up to minus 15.5. It's come down to minus 14. So what we have here, right, is a team that's fresh, coming off a very nice win over Incarnate Word. It feels like there's sharp money on them. If you had a free $500 bet on the side at 14, who do you bet?
Oh, to Grambling. Yeah.
Yeah, with a fresh advantage. I was going to say that there'd be no movement. Do you think this stays a public dog, or do you think Vandy cash starts coming in at some point?
I don't know if we're going to get a ton in this spot. We just saw them escape past Pittsburgh. They've got some bigger opponents on deck. It's like I say, it's just not, and again, in these home courts at this time of year, it's not a packed environment. A lot of the students are either taking exams or they've gone home, with the holidays approaching. So I don't know if there's going to be much Vandy money.
Well, I am now interested in the Tigers, the Grambling Tigers. I think I move on them at 14. All right, let's move on. This is great. We have 4 college basketball games left. Of course, we have Washington Huskies, Gonzaga Bulldogs, which includes the Taint Play of the Day. And 16 minutes for these 4 games. Then we go into NBA with DutchBoyFresh.
You know something? I'm just looking at some things here. There's a key cog for Vanderbilt that is questionable to suit up here in this game. And then I'm looking at the schedule here.
It's Jordan Wright, right? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, Jordan Wright. Vandy's played a hellacious schedule. This is, a lot of games in a short period of time. There are a lot of things that really point to Grambling here. And like I said, I don't love betting these situations with these SWAC teams, these MEAC teams again, but I think I will actually. I think I will. Grambling here because it's just a brutal spot for Vanderbilt, and Wright might not play, and that's a significant piece to what makes them go. Is it 14.5? I think there's a 14.5.
I can't find a 14.5 here. If you can find one.
Yeah. Oh, Pro Line Plus minus 112 plus 14.5. There we go.
All right. I'm joining you on this. That was a fun breakdown.
Yeah.
Bobano is on Grambling plus 14.5 minus
Now,
112.
part of this is we've got to bank on Vanderbilt sleepwalking a little bit too. I mean, if Vanderbilt brings their A game, it's going to be too much for Grambling. But I don't think I'm willing to think it's not going to happen.
All right, let's move on. McNeese Cowboys, 2-6, 0-4 on the road at Northern Iowa Panthers, 3-5, 3-1 at home at McLeod Center in Cedar Falls, Iowa. We'll start with the line history here for this one. We have Northern Iowa opening up as 16.5-point favorites. They're now 15-point favorites. Let's see what BetOnline has done here. They've opened up, same deal, but they've kept it at 16.5. So it's at 16.5 at BetOnline. It's all the way down to 15 at Pinnacle. From a total side of things, opening up at 139.5 at Pinnacle, down to 136.5. BetOnline opening up earlier in the day, opened it up at 141. Wow. So there's been a 5-point move to the under in this one. Let's take a look at the cash flow for this one. 1,419 tickets in. 42% of the tickets, but 79% of the cash on Northern Iowa. BetOnline hasn't moved it. Pinnacle has. No help for the total. McNeese comes in off a 76-40 loss at Tennessee last Wednesday as 35-point dog. So they covered.
See ya, Brazil. Brazil just lost. Croatia wins in penalties.
I don't want to get too excited about my futures on Argentina because they could easily lose to the Netherlands. So, but you know what helps is I didn't hedge. There was time, and I didn't hedge because I was worried about France on the other side.
Yep.
Fucking awesome. But I'm not going to get too excited. So McNeese shot 28.6% from the field, 11.8% from three. They turned the ball over 24 times. They were terrible, but it probably was a good practice run for playing on the road and playing against good teams. Now, they've also had 9 days off between games. Northern Iowa comes in off their second loss in 3 games, 83-75 at home to Toledo on Tuesday as 4.5-point dogs. Take it away for us, Bobano. McNeese, Northern Iowa.
Yeah, Northern Iowa is always usually one of those teams where when they're a pick'em or they're an underdog, I like them. When they're laying this kind of points, not so much. And Bart Torvik only has them 13.5 here in this game against McNeese State. Southland Conference team, terrible defensive team though. McNeese State, that's the issue. And there's a big difference in that side of at that end of the basketball court between these two teams. Another thing that concerns me is Northern Iowa is a really good 3-point shooting team. McNeese State, horrible defending the three. It's a matchup advantage for Northern Iowa, but I don't like laying points of this magnitude with this team. So it's an easy pass. I want to take Northern Iowa because the matchup's in their favor, but not at 16.5. So I'm going to stay off.
Interesting. But a free $500 bet you move on Northern Iowa.
Yeah, I just don't want to lay this many with them.
So what do you think of the ass-kicking McNeese took at Tennessee and then being off for 9 days to practice? Do you think
that's something? I mean, they have a chance to rebound, but again, matchup is not in their favor here. They're a little bit their issue, again, has been a 3-point defense. It's where Northern Iowa thrives. And then, on the flip side, too, McNeese State offensively, they really rely more on 3-point shooting, and Northern Iowa's better at that end of the floor. So matchup advantage screams Northern Iowa, but I know long-term they've not been overly consistent as double-digit chalk. So that's why I'm going to stay off.
Okay, I can stay off as well. Let's move on to the next spot on the board. 8 p.m. Eastern, Lipscomb Bisons, 6-2, 1-2 on the road to Alabama A&M Bulldogs. We're at TM Elmore Gymnasium in Normal, Alabama. This opened up with Lipscomb as 8-point favorites at Pinnacle. They got up to 9.5. They're currently at 9, but juiced. See what they are at BetOnline. At BetOnline, they opened up at 8, and they're at 10, minus 10. So it makes sense. It's juiced at Pinnacle. BetOnline opened this total up at 148, and it got all the way up to 151. There's been buyback now at 149.5. Let's see what Penny did with the total. They opened it up at 147, and it's now at 150. So we'll take a look at the cash here in this Lipscomb spot. We have 1,926 tickets in, 43% of the tickets, 60% of the cash on Alabama A&M. Market not moving towards them. Then 79% of the tickets and 79% of the cash on the under, and the market not moving there either. Interesting. Lipscomb comes in off their 4th straight win, but two of them coming over Div 2 competition. They come in off a 87-49 beatdown of Div 2 Trevecca Nazarene Trojans on Monday. Alabama A&M opened the season with 5 straight losses to Division 1 opposition. They got their first wins of the season versus Div 2 competition. They didn't beat them that easily. They come in off a 71-55 victory over Div 2 Fisk Bulldogs last Monday, the 28th. So we have another team here that's been off for, God, Jesus. I mean, 11 days. Take it away for us here, Bobano. Lipscomb, Alabama A&M.
Yeah, Alabama A&M, it's another, SWAC team. It's tough for me to want to back these. Although this is not the big step up in class that it is for, say, Grambling against Vanderbilt, because Lipscomb, is from a, mid-major conference as well. Lipscomb, always a pretty solid, sound offensive basketball team. We've seen that again so far this season as well. Under Lenny Acuff, their head coach, they're off to a solid start, 6-2. Only losses to South Dakota and Notre Dame, taking care of business pretty much in every other game. Alabama A&M, not so much. I mean, their wins are against Tennessee Southern and Fisk, and in they lost every other game. North Alabama by 8, Tennessee State by 11, Samford by 20 at home, Norfolk State by 6 on a neutral. Home to a loss to a Louisiana Tech by 5. You are getting the good amount of points here with them. And for Lipscomb, there's tougher games coming up for them, probably more important games for them coming up. So situationally, it's not a great Lipscomb spot. I would lean to the dog, but I just don't think it's a dog I trust enough. They've had some tough results, especially as they've faced like when you've only beaten 2 basically unknowns as your only 2 victories. It's hard to ask me to want to back you.
But I mean, I don't, Lipscomb coming off those 2 wins versus the Trevecca game. I mean, that's not going to help them here. Is the issue that Alabama's barely beating these Div 2 comps?
Yes, barely. That's another thing. Not only just that's their only wins, but barely beating these teams, barely. So it's an ugly game all around. I actually would lean A&M, believe it or not, but based on the spot situation, but not enough there to trust them to be competitive. And if Lipscomb gets going offensively, could end up being too much for A&M. A&M's horrible defensively as well.
All right, let's move on to the next spot on the board, the big one. Washington Huskies at the number 18. Gonzaga Bulldogs. Huskies 7-2, 0-1 on the road. Bulldogs 6-3, 3-0 at home. And we have reached sweet, bulbous taint. I only use bulbous when I talk about shrimp and taint. Taint is in. Washington plus 16.5. Let's take a look at the line history here for this one. This one opened up with the Huskies at plus 17 at Pinnacle. Now they're at plus 16.5. We'll take a look at Bet Online. Bet Online opened up Washington at plus 15. And it got up to plus 18. So this moved quickly towards Gonzaga, now sitting at 16.5. This total opened up at Bet Online 147.5, got up to 149, back to 148.5, and we'll see what Penny opened it up. Penny opened this up at 149 and it's dropped to 148.5. Let's take a look at the cash flow here. 4,106 tickets in. All the money coming in on Washington. 87% of the tickets, 89% of the cash. Very, very interesting. 45% of tickets and 77% of cash on the under. We head to McCarthy Athletic Center in Spokane, Washington. Huskies bounce back from their it's a 66-65 loss. I have 66-66 against Oregon State. We were on Oregon State in that one by defeating Colorado 73-63 at home on Sunday as 1-point favorites. It was a nice bounce back for them. Gonzaga comes in off its second win in 3 games, 73-66 at home over Kent State on Monday as 15.5-point favorites. It was not a sound beating as 15.5-point favorites. They win by 7. This is the big one on the board. Bobano, take it away for us. Washington Huskies, Gonzaga Bulldogs.
Yeah, I mean, Gonzaga, rather, it's not easy to lay these kind of points with them of what I've seen this year. They've had some ups, they've had some downs. They've been a little bit all over the map with their consistency this year. Their defense, which, Mark Few was concerned about early in the season and in the preseason, which they weren't defending at a very high level. They're actually 40th in the country, but that's actually lower than usual for this Gonzaga team. We'll see how they fare tonight against Washington. How's Washington going to fare? Because they lost one of their prime big men, one of their prime front court players for the season due to injury. And you got to now deal with Drew Timme, who's a terrific, obviously big man for the Gonzaga Bulldogs. How are they going to fare is the big question. But again, you look at Gonzaga here, they had the win against Kentucky, which was ultra impressive. North Florida in the opener. Portland State, they blew them out as well. But the last 4 games, Xavier, they beat by 4. Kent State, who's a really good MAC team, but they were life and death in that game. They only win by 7. This feels like it's just too many points right now to be giving Washington and too many points to be laying with Gonzaga here. The Huskies are a capable team. Now, they've had their own issues in terms of consistency one game to the next. But the one thing Washington's been very good at this year, because they've had the losses to Cal Baptist and Oregon State, but they've beaten teams like Colorado and St. Mary's. So like I said, they've been all over the map, the Huskies. But one thing they've been excellent at is three-point defense this year. That's very significant. So, if they can take away that perimeter shooting of Gonzaga, and maybe force them more toward the post area and Timme, it's going to be an advantage here, I think, for the Washington Huskies here, in my opinion. But there's no doubt they're the better defensive team. If you look at all the numbers, all the statistics, Washington's been better defensively so far this season than Gonzaga. And in a rivalry situation like this, inside the state, I'm going to rely on that here and think we get a more competitive game than 16.5 would indicate. So I am in agreement with our guy, our taint master, Matty Ice. I like Washington as well.
Taint officially. Master. I haven't heard that, but he's in control of his taint and any taint around him as well. Okay, let's lock it in for you here on Washington. So we're getting plus 16.5 minus 103 at 5 dimes. Can you beat that anywhere?
No. That's as good as it gets. Perfect.
16.5 and minus 103. Remo says, will we review the Army-Navy game for tomorrow? No, Rem, we are not doing that, but it's broken down right on our homepage playlist. You go to our homepage, it's Second Up College Football, and it's right there. That's what we're doing. We're just focusing on today's action. We have a huge NBA card that's popping off here in 3 minutes. Very quickly, Markel's on the under. Do you have a feel for this total here?
You know what? Again, Gonzaga 3-point percentage is one of the tops in the country, but Washington is a top 10 perimeter defense. And if they become one-dimensional through the low post, that could be more difficult in terms of getting this game. Like, both teams are top 100 in pace, right? You're going to see pace, both teams. There's no question about that. But these are, Washington in particular playing good defense. They can take away the Gonzaga 3-point shooting, make them a little more one-dimensional. That could help you with the under. I've got no feel on the total one way or another. I could see it going either way. But that's your reason for liking the under if you like it.
Damn. We found plus 17 for you at Bet Rivers. What was the juice spiker? Can you give us the juice for the 17 at Bet Rivers, please? Res Mob going to take Washington first half. Don't see them coming back and take it down early. There's a look there. Okay. And Gary, we can talk a ton about it. And look, I can completely understand what you see on the New York Giants. It's just, we've seen what's happened with these public dogs. We saw what happened with the Titans last week. They just keep losing every week. The public dog loses. So it just scares me. That's all. A lot of people see what you're seeing with the Giants here. So I get it. There's our guy, William Wild. How? He's catching another ticket. Argentina versus Netherlands over 2.5 goals at plus 130. And Gakpo to score at any time plus 333. Our guy, William. Thank you for sharing that with us, William. Okay, so there we go. Bobano at plus 16.5 minus. But the minus set plus 17 and minus 110. Thank you for finding that. All right, let's go into our final game on the board before we get into NBA. 9 p.m. Eastern, Arkansas State Red Wolves, 5-4, 0-3 on the road to Air Force Falcons, 6-4, 6-2 at home. We're in Colorado Springs, Colorado for this one. Let's take a look at the line history here. We have Arkansas State opening up as 7-point dogs down to 5.5. see what BetOnline opened it up at. They opened it up at 6, but it also got up to 7 right away. So Penny opened it at 7, and we're now 5.5. Take a look at the total. This total opened up at 120, very low, and it actually got bet down immediately. This went down 2 points in 13 minutes, down to 118. Since then, it's been bet all the way up to 122. Wow. And Pinnacle has opened it at 120.5, and it's at 121.5. So let's take a look at the cash flow, see if it correlates here. 2,534 tickets in. I said off the top that the two teams that were given the most implied line value on the board were Arkansas State and Columbia. They actually have a sliver, the tiniest sliver. The only other team with any line value, according to Sports Insights, is on Gonzaga. But none of the gamblers care about that. 61% of the tickets, 91% of the cash on Air Force. Then 68% of the tickets, but just 49% of the cash on the under. Final game on the board for us. Arkansas State had their 2-game winning streak snapped at 72-67 loss to Central Arkansas as 3-point favorites on Tuesday. It was disappointing. Air Force comes in off their 5th win in 6 games, 79-58 at home over South Dakota as 4.5-point favorites. And their sophomore, Jake Heidbreder, 27 points, 5 for 8 from 3. Take it away for us here, Bobano. Last game on the board, Arkansas State, Air Force.
Yeah, this one should be a defensive battle. I mean, I'm kind of puzzled why the total's gone back up. I would lean under. Didn't bet it, but I lean under. You've got two extremely slow-paced teams. I mean, both of them in the 300s in tempo. They're both actually fringe top 100 teams in terms of defensive efficiency as well. Outstanding perimeter defense from Air Force as well. They're just two teams that are more capable defensively, and offensively, Arkansas State is definitely not shooting the ball all that well so far this season. Not a very good offensive team. That's going to be the concern here in this matchup as they take on Air Force here. It does kind of feel, though, that this could be Air Force is one of those teams where I like to take them in the dog role, not the favorites role. You know, as much as Arkansas State's a really hideous offensive team, and it can be tough to prepare for Air Force defensively. Arkansas State does have it at that end of the floor. Air Force certainly does. It's probably dog and under type of spot for me, where I would lean to the Red Wolves plus the 6, and definitely the total right now. It's gone back up again. I don't agree with that. It's probably a very low-scoring defensive battle between these two.
Which means that all of this money that's come in on Air Force and the market moving back to Arkansas State means Arkansas State's pretty live here as a dog, would you say?
They're very good defensively, and Air Force is historically one of those teams that I don't love laying bigger points with them because that's often where they've had their issues.
I'm interested in Arkansas State. Going to take a little bit more time. Let's review all college basketball action here. I will review Bobano's NHL action after we're done NBA with DutchBoyFresh. I think I'm going to move on Bryant first half. I think it correlates with that. I think they're going to be an angry group against Stony Brook, and I'm going to move on Bryant first half after shooting 29.9 from the field, 20.5% from 3 in that tough loss at Cincinnati. I think they're hungry early. Binghamton, Fordham, we are off. Bobano starts his card with the over 154 in Fairleigh Dickinson, Columbia. I'm going to be on Columbia. Then Dartmouth, Central Connecticut, we are off. Bobano's on the over 154 at minus 110 in Queens University at High Point. I'm wondering if it can get back up to 5.5 or 6. If it does, 5.5 or 6, I'll move on Queens. Bobano and I are both on Grambling State. We're on the Tigers plus 14.5 against Vandy in Nashville. We're back in Grambling. I have McNeese and Alabama A&M are two ugly dogs that I'm going to look a little bit more in on. I think I have enough action, but I'm going to go once over that again. Bobano and Taint. Taint and Bobano. Both on the Washington Huskies here. I find that very interesting. I'm going to keep studying it. I just think that 87% of tickets, 89% cash on a, it makes a very public dog, and that does give me some hesitation. So I'm going to study a little more. Now, look, I was not on Taint yesterday, and that took money out of my pocket. At least it got me off of Minnesota.
Yep.
So it kept money in my pocket. And then Arkansas State, I'm expecting to move on here. Johnny K says, give me that Taint. A little easy. Great stuff. Bobano. Keep up the great work. Bobano hosting our NBA Pub Hub today at 4 p.m. Eastern. Then you can see him with our very first NCAA basketball Pub Hub tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. alongside Connor Mack and Dabby Cab. Then on Sunday night, on Sunday morning, he will be hitting leadoff for our NFL Pub Hub. He leads out of 21 cappers. Then on Monday, it is back to the hitting the books. The rest, a bunch of bowl games going to be broken down by our guy Bobano. And then he's got college basketball and he's got NBA. And then he meets us for the first half of the Monday Nighter. A very busy schedule for our Bobano. Follow him on Twitter at Bobano. Any last words tonight, Bobano, my guy?
No, that's it. Good stuff. And I might be on the Thursday night live stream because I did say to Connor Mack weeks ago that whenever that Seahawks 49ers game takes place on that Thursday night, I might jump in for the live stream on the Thursday night. So I might be around for that. I'm
going to ask to trade with him for that Thursday because the following Monday I'm going to be flying back out west. So I'm going to see if he'll trade with me on that spot. Excellent work, Bobano. Go. And there's Drug Monkey RX, currently our leader in the Cappers contest. Bobano,
yes, congrats. Well done. Great work.
Yeah, very exciting. Thank you for your hard work, Bobano. Much love to you, and good luck with all of your action this evening.
Absolutely. Good luck to everybody in the chat. Great stuff. And Dutch will get you going where you need to be for the NBA coming up. Keep you going where you need to be. That's usually what he says. Yeah. Put you right where you need to be. There we go. That's what he says. Friday, 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific, NBA Pub Up. I'll be back then. See you later.
There he goes. Bobano. We move on to NBA. Our expert here on Fresh Fridays went 4-2 last week. Now sitting 11-9. That he had a tough first show here, so he's been fire since that first show. Hitting at 55%. We all know how he hit at 59.8% last year. He was our first capper in my 5-year history that I've had as a guest to almost so close hit that 60-point pair, and he was over 60% for most of the season. He's sitting 11-9, 55%, plus 1.14 units ROI, plus 5.70%, average line minus 110. Last Friday, the Nuggets minus 2.5 were a loss. The Nets minus 1.5 was an easy win, and he tried to get me off the Raptors. Cavs first half minus 6 was a casher for him. He lost on the Bucks first half minus 4.5, but nice, easy casher on the Grizzlies first half, and he also cashed on the Warriors minus 7. The man is running hot. The man is here for you to put money in your pockets, to fatten up, to line them with cold hard cash before the Christmas season. Please welcome from Las Vegas, Nevada, none other than DutchBoyFresh. Dutchy, what's good, man?
Jimmy the motherfucking bag. Salute to you. All the real ones holding us down in Wi-Fi land. You already know it's all love. The NBA is a hell of a drug. And you're looking at the plug. Yeah, man. Good to be back with you, Jimmy. I appreciate the kind words and introduction. You do it like no other, my man. I appreciate you.
Oh, it's a lot of fun to cap with you, my friend. I enjoy it immensely. Let's get to work right away. We start at 7 p.m. Eastern. New York Knicks 12-13, 6-6 on the road at Charlotte Hornets 7-18, 4-8 at home. We're at the Spectrum Center in Charlotte, North Carolina. Knicks 3-2 over the past 5, playing at a pace at 98.4 possessions a game. Charlotte 1-4 over their past 5, playing at a pace at 98.9 possessions a game. Let's go into the line history here for this one. Move over to NBA and see what we are dealing with. Knicks, Hornets. We have the Knicks opening up. Oh, let's move over to Pinnacle. Knicks opening up at minus 3.5. That's exactly where they are now. The first move was towards the New York Knicks, and it took 14 minutes to go from 3.5 to 4. They stayed at 4 until 9 this morning when they went to 3.5. Then at 9:05, they went to 3. So it was a very quick move around 9:05, moving towards Charlotte. They're back at minus 3.5. From a total standpoint, it opened up at 224. It's exactly where it is. The initial move was towards the over, and it's come back. So that's that. Let's take a look at the cash flow here for our first one. There is one team in the NBA that's been given full line value. No other team's been given more than 33%. And after that, it just slivers. The 33% is the Pelicans. The full line value According to Sports Insights, is the Charlotte Hornets. 29% of the tickets on them and 43% of the cash, so big bets on them. Then 34% of tickets, but 99% of the cash on an over. So 9,175 tickets in. There must be an alarmingly big bet on the over, and that's why I immediately moved to 25 or 225. So Knicks coming off their second straight win, 113-89 at home over Atlanta on Wednesday night. Julius Randle going off for 34. He's only averaging 21.1, so it was a big game for him. No Obi Toppin, non-displaced fracture in the right tibia. He's going to be out for an extended period of time. Hornets coming off their third straight loss, 122-116 at Brooklyn on Wednesday. Rozier goes for 29. Oubre also, both of them have reached 20 points in 6 straight games that they have played. So that's the first time since 2007 that the Hornets duo has gone for a concurrent 20-point streaks. And Knicks beat the Hornets 134-131 in overtime October 26th at home. Can Charlotte deliver the Revenga? Take it away for us, Dutch. Knicks, Hornets.
Yeah, man. My guy James S with the hashtag free big happy. I see you, my man. Mike M, I see you, bro. Yeah, appreciate all the love in the chat. Yeah, Jim, this one, what you said is very, it's just what comes to mind when I capped this game last night. I looked at this game right off the bat, and I said, okay, I'm going to look to exploit Charlotte. I'm going to be on the Knicks here somehow, some way, most likely first half. But then I broke that motherfucker down, and I don't have a play on this game, but, I do it for you, my guy. This has to be a Hornet spot. It really does. And from what you said, just kind of backs it up a little bit more. They are 6-0, 6-0-1 ATS last 7 against the number, after a loss, 4-0-1 last 5 on 1 day's rest, and 4-1 ATS last 5 at the house. This game last time, they've already played most recently. It was an overtime win, very close game, overtime win by the Knicks. The Knicks are 1-4 ATS last 5 in Charlotte, 1-4 last 5 meetings overall against the spread. I look for the Hornets here, sneaky spot. I think a lot of the public will be on New York here. I don't have to bet the Charlotte Hornets, so I'm not going to. But if you want to bet this motherfucking basketball game, I believe the value is on the Hornets. It's telling. Last week, I believe it was the Wizards game. We sit here and broke bread, Jim, and I believe I said the Hornets were the side, but I'm not doing it. And I believe they covered the +3. They might have won that game by 1 or lost the game by 1, but it's kind of like deja vu. Same motherfucking shit. Hornets probably are the play here, but I can't go to the window with them.
Understandable. They're a tough team to trust here.
And I got 7 bets on the motherfucking board today, Jim. I'm probably only going to make 6 official because I was pressing buttons last night. But let's run up this motherfucking. Let's run it up today. Let's run up these likes. Share the motherfucking video. We're going to hit them straight over the motherfucking head today. I got us at least a 6-piece we're going to make official.
You dropped a 6-piece last Friday and went 4-2. Very impressive. Spenny Penny Bombs looking at Rozier to keep rolling, looking at points, rebounds, and assists over. And we have our guy, Jarek White, already smashed the Hornets at +4. Great job getting that number. Well, I am interested. I'm interested in the Hornets as a home dog here at +3, though. I have to get 3, and that might hold me off. And I wonder if we get a 3.5. I wonder if the public comes in. So let's keep an eye on that. Let's move on to game 2 here. Speaking of those Washington Wizards, 11-14, 3-9 on the road at the Indiana Pacers, 13-12, 7-4 at home. We're at Gamebridge Fieldhouse in Indianapolis, Indiana. Washington and Indiana both 1-4 over the past 5 games, both playing at a fast pace. Washington 102.4 possessions a game. Indiana 106.7. Extremely quick, brisk pace they're playing. Let's take a look at the line history here. We have these Pacers opening up at -4.5. They're now at -5. And the 4.5 lasted for 8 minutes. This came out at 6:52 a.m. It lasted for 8 minutes before the Pacers became 5-point favorites. We go over to the total. This total opened up at 232. It's now at 233, but it got up to 234. And it's back to 233. Take a look at the cash flow here for this one. 4,663 tickets in, 44% of the tickets, 80% of the cash on the Pacers. Big bets coming in on them, and market moving a half point in their direction, and they're getting healthier. 43% of tickets and 92% of cash on the under. With playing at this type of a pace, you're going to have to need poor efficiency, and you're going to need, Miles Turner clogging up the paint. Wizards have lost 4 in a row and 7 of their last 8 overall. They've lost 6 straight on the road, coming off their 4th straight loss, 115-111 at the Bulls on Wednesday night. And they did cover. and it was a late addition by our guy Durrell. They played without the leading scorer Bradley Beal, and for at least the next week he'll be out. He's got that strained right hamstring. KP rolled his ankle in the first half, but he came back. He says he's a little sore. We know he's a little bitch, but he'll probably be back in the lineup. He's hit 20 points now in each of his last 6 games. Kuzma's hit 20 in 8 of his last 9 games. He went for 21 on Wednesday. Pacers coming off their 4th loss in 5 games, 121, 115 at Minnesota on Wednesday. Tyrese, 26 points, 15 assists on Wednesday. And that was the end of a 7-game road trip, and they played well. Now, our guy Rayhan Hyder, who we all hung out with in San Antonio, he wants to be more involved in what we're doing here in NBA, and he was heavy on the Minnesota Timberwolves, heavy. And today, and I'll talk it through what he sent me, he's heavy on the Utah Jazz today. But he had over a K on the Timberwolves in that game, and they started out fast, and he's been doing really well on these 4-figure bets that he has, and he's got another one on the Jazz today. Indiana went 2-5 on that trip. Halliburton came back. He'd missed 2 games due to a sore left groin. They needed him. Buddy Hield went for 26 against on Wednesday, 7 of 11 from 3. And Miles Turner also came back from the 1-game absence due to a hamstring injury with 23 points. And Dan Kelly says, Indiana, the first game back after a trip, keeps me off them here. Res Mob says Pacers spot. Slow Jams Arsenal leaning under Pacers coming off that long road trip. Mike M says Wizards are 0-15 against the spread on the road, coming off a push or against the spread win if the total is more than 206. Benny says if KP's out, give me Kuzma, points, rebounds, and double. Ray Charles on the Halliburton over 10.5 assists. Let's hear what the freshest man in the business does with this spot. Take it away, Dutch. Wizards, Pacers.
Yeah, man. Sometimes, and I agree with what, I feel what DK is saying, and I respect my guy. But, this right here, man, this is where it's time. It's good to be home type of feeling. These motherfuckers ain't seen the crib since Turkey Day. November 25th was the last time they played a home basketball game, the Pacers, man. I think they're going to be feeling the home rims. They're going to be feeling the crowd. And I think they're going to put it on the Wizards, who damn near have been an auto fade, excuse me. I just like the Pacers here in this situation. I got it at 4.5. We could lock into 5. It's good money. They are 6-2 straight up as a favorite. 4-1 straight up last 5 at the crib. 7-4 ATS at home overall. So they handle business at the house. 5-1 ATS last 6 versus a losing team too at the house. So I just look at this simply. I don't like the Wizards basketball team as much as I thought. I'm not going to say I really liked them, but I thought that, with the additions, with Kuzma, and I did think Bill would be playing a little bit more basketball, but simply he's in and out. These Wizards got off to a hot start, but kind of came back to reality. I think the Wizards are simply a fade here. They've lost 7 out of 8. You touched on it, Jim. They are they played October 28th, right, in Washington. Pacers won that game by 10. Bradley Beal dropped 31. Kuzma gave him 18, 9, and 6. KP dropped it 22 and 6. And still lost the game by 10. Now you go into Indiana where they want to win some basketball games after struggling a little bit on that road trip. Haven't been at the crib in a minute. All 5 starters have 15 plus points in that game. Halliburton, our guy Ray Charles, likes that assist. I like that look. He's averaging 11 on the year. They're top 5 in assists. They share the basketball. Like I mentioned, I think they're going to be happy to be back at the crib. This Pacers all day here. This should be double digits. Easy money right here. I think -4, -5. I like it, Jim. Lock it up. Like I mentioned, I got it at 4.5. I guess I was on BetMGM at the right time.
There is a 4.5 at -114.
Yeah, lock it in, man. Lock it in.
All right. Dutch is on the board. Dutch is on the Pacers -4.5 at -114.
Hey, Buddy Hield playing, not to cut you off, Jim, my bad. Buddy Hield playing, Miles Turner playing. I mean, they're both out like around 17 a game. Hallie doing his thing. Hallie's playing, Ski went out on a limb and said MVP. I'm not gonna go there, but he's playing all-star level basketball. And they got some guys off the bench too. There's a couple young cats playing good ball. It took me a minute to buy into the Pacers here, but I'm not super high on them. But I think this is a nice spot, and I know some people like to fade them coming back off a long road trip, but I think they're going to light up when they see the Washington Wizards.
Pacers -4.5, -114. Dutch is on the board. Move on to 7 p.m. Eastern. Toronto Raptors 13-12, but just 3-9 on the road. At the Orlando Magic, 6-20, 5-9 at home. Amway Center in Orlando, Florida. If there's one team in the NBA that the Raptors put their foot on the throat of. It's these Orlando Magic, and we all fucking hate Terrence Ross so much. Raptors have won 30 of their last 36 games against the Magic. Even in Orlando, Toronto's won 16 of their last 19 games in Orlando. Let's take a look at the line history here right away. We have those of you guys who know I have a personal thing. I'll just go really quickly. I think some of you guys know the story, but a bunch of my brother-in-law, all his buddies used to work at the ACC. They all worked. They all got jobs at ACC. And a bunch of them still work there, but they all did out of high school. And my one kid, he's become a friend of mine, and he made a mixtape for James Johnson. Right, mixtape, spent hours on music, hip hop behind him, gave it to him, and James Johnson took it. And then James Johnson's mom messaged him and was like, "Thank you for making my baby that mixtape. He sent it to me. I love it." Like, it was just so nice, right? It was so exciting. We're all like freaking out. We're all freaking out. We love it. So then he does the same thing for Terrence Ross. Terrence won't take it. He's like, "No, I don't want it." And like, this kid just spent hours and hours and hours making you of all your highlights, and Terrence like, "No, I don't want it." And at that point on, it's like, what a fuck.
That reminds me real quick, when I was in P-Town Blazers, I was like literally fucking 15 benches away from Vince Carter. It was when he played it for the Nets, New Jersey. They had RJ and KD, and Jason Kidd was running the show. And I was like, all right, I'm going to go see Vince. Big fan of Vince Carter from, back his Tar Heel days. Man, this motherfucker's so close to me. I was like, "Yo, what up, Vince?" This motherfucker didn't even raise his head, just walked right by me. I was just like, man, fuck this guy. Ever since then, I mean, he's still nice. He still could dunk a basketball like no other, but fuck Vince Carter, kind of, low key.
Yeah, I just give someone a second of your, just look up and say, just give him something,
Yeah, something. Just acknowledge a motherfucker, but not to take a tape. That's on another level. But yeah, even just not acknowledging me when I show you love is disrespect, man.
Yeah, no, I hear you. And everybody knows how I got, how my dad went off on me when I wanted to talk to Bernie Kosar, and I've never given a fuck about anybody again. Harlan Williams was the only guy I wanted to meet. Other than that, I didn't give a fuck about anybody. But let's get back to work here. And Bo Jackson says, VC chill. Also, he was in a bad way there in New Jersey, right? He just felt like Toronto hated him.
Oh yeah, another reason I forgot part of that story is this motherfucker. He was the main reason I bought the ticket, and this motherfucker was a late scratch because remember his sore knee. He's already had that knee issue back then, so he was on the bench, like just sitting there the whole fucking game, not even acknowledging the motherfucker, man. Like, didn't even play basketball too. Cost me about $500. And this motherfucker still didn't even play, and cold shoulder the motherfucker. So you chill, Vince, motherfucker. Yeah.
Okay. Raptors open up at -7.5. They're now -8. This total opened up at 220. It's up to 222. Speaking of 222, Toronto 2-3 over the past 5, playing at a pace of 101.90 possessions a game. Biker, I knew you'd pop up if I mentioned the Bernie Kosar story. Orlando 1-4 over their past 5, but they're playing at a much slower pace, 97.86 possessions a game. Let's take a look at the cash here in Toronto, Orlando. 8,516 tickets in. It's all Raptors cash. 79% of tickets and 94% of the cash that's moved a half point. 79 and 94, 80% of tickets and 84% cash on the over. At least that's gone up a couple points. Raptors coming off their second win in 3 games, 126-113 at home over the undermanned Lakers on Wednesday night. No LeBron, no AD, no Bev. Siakam and Van Fleet go for 25 each. Barnes put up 17 boards, went 13 and 17. Still no Precious Achua. Hernan Gomez, right ankle sprain also, and Otto Porter with the toe dislocation. They're all out. And I love this. I know you don't like it as much as I do, but I love when teams play each other back to back. Now, I like it better when they're in the same arena, but they are flipping back to Toronto for this. Or sorry, no, they play again in Orlando. What am I talking about? They play right again in Orlando on Sunday. I love this shit. So Magic snapped their 9-game losing streak, 116-111 comeback overtime victory at home against the Clippers on Wednesday night. Banchero goes for 10 of his 13 in overtime. He takes over the game. Bol. Look at these numbers. 20 points, 9 boards, 2 block shots. Wagner goes for 20 and 13. The Magic were down 17 with 4:11 left in the third and came all the way back. But they're still dealing with a ton of injuries. Wendell Carter going to be out for at least 2 more games. And Gary Harris, Jalen Suggs, Jonathan Isaac. Take it away for us here, Dutchie, Raptors Magic.
Yeah, man. This one I really liked last night. We'll see what we can do with it first half here, though. I locked it in at 3.5 Raptors. To me, it's simple, man. There's levels to this shit. And you touched on it, Jim, man. It's big brother, little brother type shit when it comes to Toronto and Orlando. They're going to put it on them. Now, you can't say your argument for Orlando could be, I mean, Toronto's suspect as fuck on the road. 1-6 ATS, last 7 overall on the road. But to me, they're just better at every fucking position, from coaching to down, probably to the motherfucking water boy when it comes to Toronto against Orlando. And they want to probably get that feeling off how shitty we've been on the road. Well, who's better than to be against Orlando Magic? I simply believe they're going to put it on them just like they did in December. They played early December in Toronto, beat them by 13. The last 3 meetings, they've been putting it on them. They've been up by 7. I'm taking that first half here. They've been up by 7 average the last 3 meetings at half. And in that game in December 3rd, they were plus 14 at halftime. So I look for, Siakam, OG. Look at Van Fleet, who found his shot a little bit. Was only 3 from 12 from 3 last game, but did have 25 points. Looking like he's getting a little more comfortable. He's been struggling, but you got Siakam back in the mix. You got OG doing this thing. You got Scotty Barnes. I mean, man, come on, man. 3.5, forget about it. This is good money all day. And like you said, Jim, they just been bullying these motherfuckers. They're 5-0 ATS last 5 meetings, 11-2 ATS last 13 meetings overall, and they beat these motherfuckers 14-1 straight up last 15. Give me Toronto all day early.
So the question that Jarek White has is the question that we need for your record keeping. He says still good money first half minus 4.5, because the 4.5 is minus 106. The 4 is minus 116.
Yeah, let's lock in that 4.
All right, first half.
I don't like that 4 in the hooker. I ain't gonna lie, this should be double digits, but I'm not gonna lay 4.5 first half. We can get it under 120. We'll do the 4. Shop around, my man. Get that 4. But they should be up by 9 to 10 points at half.
Everybody talking about their stories with the Stars. Emmett Smith wouldn't sign Sports Illustrated for Saturated, so he told him Barry Sanders was better. Perfect rotation, dabbed it up with Kendrick Perkins. At the airport. That's nice, man. That's nice. Bo Jackson saying Barnes versus Paulo should be a nice matchup. You're right. All right, let's roll on. We have our guy Dutch on the Raptors first half minus 4, minus 116. Let's move up. There's Dabby Cab in the house. Dabby Cab, we're almost getting up to the game that Dabby Cab and Razor Sharp Picks will have a live bet stream on. We're almost there. It is Lakers, Sixers. But next up for us, 7:30 p.m. Eastern, Atlanta Hawks 13-12, 5-7 on the road at Brooklyn Nets 14-12, 9-5 at home at the Barclays Center in Brooklyn, New York. Atlanta over their past 5, 2-3. Playing at a pace of 99.20 points a game. Brooklyn 4-1, 98.10 points per game. Dutchie came on here and he said that the Nets were bet on, and they've certainly been that way. Let's take a look at the line history here right now for this one. We have, here we go. We have these Nets opening up at minus 7.5. They got to 7, and they're back at 7.5. From a total perspective, it opened up at 228. It's now at 230. Take a look at the cash flow for this one. We have 8,415 tickets in, and the sharper bets are on Atlanta. 33% of the tickets, but 68% of the cash. 45% of the tickets, 56% of cash on the under. On that under that has gone up 2 points. It's funny that there's a 230 total up there with two teams that are playing under, the one's playing barely over 99 possessions, the one's barely over 98 possessions. Hawks coming off their second straight loss, an ugly 113-89 setback at the Knicks on Wednesday night. DeJounte Murray going to be out 2 weeks with the left ankle sprain, and it looked bad. They look bad without him, and this is probably a nice bounce back spot. Atlanta shot 37.6% from the field, or 6 of 36 from 3, 16.7%. And now, you have John Collins out. DeAndre Hunter has been upgraded to questionable. So I don't know if he will be in, but we know that John Collins will be out for another week. And then Trae Young was sick. He missed practice yesterday. Young went 0 for 4 from 3. And he is 5 of 34. Trae Young, 5 of 34 from 3 over his last 5 games, 14.7%. Nets coming off their 5th win in 6 games, 122-116 at home over Charlotte on Wednesday night. Brooklyn's 5-1 on this homestand. average margin of victory 8.4 points per game. They just seem to be looking so good in the first quarter and first halves, and then slipping a little late. Let's see what Dutch wants to do here. Hawks next.
Yeah, man. I'm digging the Brooklyn vibe right now. And if you watch NBA Pub Hub, I go in on Trey. Trey is not the motherfucking way. You know, now this motherfucker caught a cold. I'm sure he did after, you know, getting in his motherfucking feelings and then taking it out on the motherfucker just trying to do his job. Yeah, Trey's a motherfucking fade, and Atlanta is a motherfucking fade. Real quick, shout out to our guy, OG Wham. Happy birthday to our guy. Big ups. I'm sure you did your thing already, Jim. But I see you, my man. Appreciate you. Happy birthday once again. But yeah, I like Nets here, man. They bet on and Atlanta's motherfucking fade all day. Trey, now he's sick. And this DeAndre Hunter, he could play. I don't think he's ready to really go. JC's out. They're real top heavy, top five. But Murray was playing the best basketball on this team. You're gonna take him off and tell me you want me to bet on this team going into Brooklyn. I could maybe understand a full game here that you're saying you don't trust Brooklyn laying 7. But first half, -3.5. is good money. I love this look right here. Brooklyn is just a better basketball team, and they are protecting the house this year. They don't always cover full game at the house, but they protect the motherfucking court, which is something they didn't do last year, and which something I said from the get-go. They would look to win basketball games at the house. It's kind of more of a respect thing for your fans. Eventually, you got that much talent. You can't be losing like that at home with KD and Kyrie. Come on now. But they are 7-1 straight up, last 8 at the house, 6-1 straight up. Last 7 versus Atlanta, and 2-1 ATS last 3 meetings versus these boys. And like I mentioned, man, Atlanta's a fade. They're in their feelings. Trey is a motherfucking fade. They ain't listening to Nate. I don't know what's going on over there, but to me, this team wasn't going to work out with the sign. I like Murray, but it ain't going to work with Trey. And it's showing. They're 1-4 ATS last 5 on the road, 4-8 ATS on the road all season, and 3-8 ATS last 11 overall, Jim. These boys are a fade. The Nets are top 10. From the field in threes and number 2 in the league from 3-point range. I don't think Atlanta's going to really have anything for them. I'm not mad at the team total here for Brooklyn. I think Brooklyn runs these boys out the gym. But I'm going to take that first half 3.5. It's real low.
Can't get that 3.5 anymore. We get you a -4 at -110. Do you think if I move to the Nets early, first quarter, first half, that it could be late to the party because it keeps cashing? At least first quarter.
I think it's a trifecta spot, bro. I have a lot of plays today, so I'm only betting this game once. But to me, this seems like just a smack them around spot. You know, Trey, even if Trey healthy going off right now, I still think they smack these motherfuckers around. And now Trey's even hurt, whatever, he's sick, whatever the fuck. But he ain't playing good basketball. And Murray, I'm telling you, man, they're really going to show they're missing him. And say what you will about JC, but they don't have guys. They don't have the guys to fill in for these, even though JC was struggling a little bit. And Hunter, I don't believe he'll be ready to rock and roll playing at his best. So Brooklyn is going to smack around, Jim. So first quarter, first half. Only thing I would say a little bit is Brooklyn does kind of die down late. And the 7, I could see why you wouldn't want to rush to the window and lay it.
I love it. Dan Kelly also on the first half Nets team total over 61. That correlates with your action. I want in. I'm going to join you on this.
Yeah, we'll do that for -110.
I want in on this. I like the look here. Another thing, we have rants talking about the under. I agree, but the market's moving too quickly towards the over. And when that doesn't make sense to me, and it doesn't correlate with their pace, that means that I must be missing something, and I either stay off or have to take a second look. And McAnemy is confirmed for the Sharks. So that's and Rocco taking the Ducks right now. Interesting. Okay.
And if you're someone who just wants, if you're someone that just wants to, have action and you just need action on props, if you want something from Atlanta's perspective, I do think Capella will have a big game, but also there's a strong chance that his ass might be sitting in the fourth quarter. I could see that game getting like this because Atlanta ain't ready for Brooklyn right now.
I like it. Locked in. Dutch is locked in with the Nets first half -4. Let's move on. Next stop on the board for us, 7:30 p.m. Eastern. Sacramento Kings 13-10, 5-6 on the road. The Cavs 16-9, 11-1 at home. Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse in Cleveland, Ohio. Both teams 3-2 over their past 5. Sacramento playing at a much faster pace, 8.7 possessions more per game for Sacramento than Cleveland, 103.70 to 95. Cleveland with the slowest pace over the last 5 games in the National Basketball Association. This opened up with Cleveland -5.5. They're down to -4. So we have a 1.5 move. Interesting about this is that the first move was towards Cleveland. So this initially went from 5.5 to 6. So this opened this morning at 6:52 a.m. 10 minutes later, this has gone from 5.5 to 6.
Yeah, because Mitchell missed shoot around.
Okay, beautiful. You've got it. Okay, so Mitchell missed shoot around. This total opened up at 225.5, and then with Mitchell's question marks, he's moved down to 222.5. Cash wise here for this one, we have hold this up here. 8,516 tickets in. They've given slight line value to Sacramento. 33% of tickets, 41% of cash on Sacramento. 38% of the tickets, but 84% of the cash on the under. 84% of the cash on the under. And it's dropped 3 points to 222.5. Sacramento had their 3-game winning streak snapped on 126-113 loss at the Bucks on Wednesday night. Mike Brown was very upset. Very upset. He went off on them. They said that they weren't felt defensively. He said it was a glorified scrimmage game. He called it a pickup game. He said whatever the Milwaukee wanted to do, they could do. Milwaukee shot 47.9% from the field and 42.4% from three. So will Sacramento show some more defense here? Sabonis 23 and 12 with 7 assists on Wednesday against the Bucks. Cavs coming off their third win in 4 games, 116-102 at home over the Lakers on Tuesday night. They've won 7 straight at home. Look at this 11-1 superlative home record. Take it away for us, Dutch. 7:30 p.m. Sacramento, Cleveland, and obviously Spider, the big story.
Yeah, man, I do think D. Mitch will play. But real quick, Jim, before I forget, because I'll be loaded. We do have, I believe we are going to have I seen Dabby Cab remind me, we're going to have the sesh, Xmas edition of the sesh, coming back, my guy, for Christmas edition. Beautiful. I'm hoping you're going to join us, man. It's overdue, Jim. It's overdue, my guy.
It is. It is. I don't want to just sit there and not be.
Eat gummies, bro. Eat gummies, man. Drink some motherfucking liquor. Vibe the fuck out with us. But if you're not free, it's all good. But yeah, I think it's gonna be December 23rd, 6 Eastern time. We're getting everything in the works. I just don't want to space that shit out. I know I better hit you up, a little ahead of time. But yeah, man, Xmas Cess edition, Delusional Eats. It's gonna be vibing the fuck out on pub culture. We vibe out on pub culture too. So they take the cuffs off over there. We can do what the fuck we want, Jim. Yeah, man. But yeah, back to the motherfucking money. I just want to make sure. But yeah, man, I like the Cavs here, and I do think Spider will play. All right, I do think he will play. I got it at 2.5 first half, and it's strictly because if you fuck with me on NBA Pub Hub and you fuck with Pub Sports Radio, it's been an auto bet. Cavaliers first half at the house. They handle business. First half, they're 7-0 straight up in the first half. Last 7 home games, average margin 11 points. They don't only they put it on them first fucking half. No, November 9th. This was one of these games, if you recall, Jim. November 9th, about a month ago, it was some NBA fuckery after the Kings kind of got fucked with the refs. Everyone kind of was on Cleveland in this spot here. And November 9th lost. They did lose by 7 in Sacramento. The Cavs did. Now it was 127-120, but the Cavs did what they wanted in that basketball game. Shot 53.5% from the field, 42% from 3, plus 16 in the rebounds, and that's what big in this game. They played Milwaukee the other night. I said simply, I'm on the fear of the deer. They're going to bully them. They're too big for them. I was on them all over first half. Simply, it was good money. They took them a full game as well. But in this game, they did have 18 turnovers in Sacramento. But here's the key. Sacramento was plus 15 in the free throw department, 30 out of 35 free throws, shot 5 free throws, plus 15. It was kind of a let's get it right game fuckery, in my opinion, from the NBA. Well, the Cavs are going to get right back on this ass tonight. I expect Mitchell to play, but if not, LeVert can get in there and get off as well. De'Aaron Fox, it came out that he has had a foot issue as well, which is probably why his props have not been fucking hitting. He's came back a little bit more to reality, because I'm a big De'Aaron Fox guy, but he has not been looking the same. And they are saying he has a foot issue. We would like Mitchell out there, but 2.5, man, that's good money. Cleveland Cavaliers first half. I just think that they're too fucking big. Look for Jared Allen to do whatever the fuck he wants, as well as Mobley. They should be plus 15, 16 rebounds again in this basketball game. This should be double digits by half. Love to see Mitchell out there stroking that 3 and attacking the rim as well. But Garland, I like Garland going. Someone in the chat said big game from Garland. I like that as well. But yeah, Cavaliers first half. Good money, Jim.
Kurt, first half minus 1.5, minus 110. 10.
Oh yeah, see, I bet this is one game where I get fucked off a little bit because of the Mitchell. But yeah, I like that. I usually don't get a better line on the show.
Almost never. I like it. I'm interested in that call. Cavs first half -1.5, -110 at the house. Let's move on. Next up, 7:30 p.m. Eastern. This will be our live bet stream tonight with Razor Sharp Picks and Dabby Cab. It starts at 7:15. The game pops off at 7:30. Wells Fargo Center in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Now, if this game does not include Anthony Davis and LeBron James, then they can just switch over to Pelicans Suns.
These
right?
boys are playing. They're playing.
I think they're playing too, but we have a backup plan in place. Dan Kelly says he was on Sacramento last month. Says Cavs are in a bad travel spot. Cavs will be focused tonight. So I don't know about Sacramento. Lakers playing at a really fast pace. It slowed down a little bit from how ridiculously fast they were playing in the beginning of the year. Lakers are 3-2 over the past 5, playing at a pace of 102.50 possessions a game. Philadelphia, second slowest team after the Cavs, 2-3, 95.42 possessions a game. Let's take a look at the line history here for Lakers Sixers for our live bet stream tonight. This opened up with the Sixers -3. They're now -4.5. From a total perspective, opened up at 224, shut up to 227.5. We take a look at the cash flow here. 8,567 tickets in, 64% of the tickets, 87% of the cash on the Sixers. Then 59% of the tickets, 69% of cash on the over, and we see it climbing. Take it away. Oh, here. Lakers coming off their second straight loss, 126-113 of the Raptors on Wednesday night. No LeBron, no AD, no Pat Bev, no Gabriel. And then they lost Toscano Anderson in the fourth. So Gabriel and Toscano are going to sit tonight. Schroeder went for 18. Westbrook and Thomas Bryant, 16. Sixers coming off their third straight loss, 132-123 in overtime at Houston on Monday. Harden came back after being gone for 14 with the strained tendon in his foot, 21 points, but shot 4 of 19 with 7 turnovers. Good God. Embiid goes for 39, Tobias Harris 27, and they're still without Tyrese Maxey, who's been out with that fractured left foot. Take it away for us, Dutch. Lakers, Sixers.
Yeah, man, I like the Sixers here. First half, got it at -1.5. I guess we'll see what the best number is here. This is, to me, a nice spot for the Sixers. I can see why people like the Lakers. It could look like a little bit more points full game here. It is an ESPN game, but man, I think Embiid gonna have a big game tonight. AD been getting off. I think Embiid gonna show. AD nice, but Embiid might even be a little bit nicer when he's dialed the fuck in. And I think James, I think he might have a game too against the LA Lakers because it just seemed like a lot of motherfuckers like to do that. I think that Tobias has been playing out of his mind of late. I expect James to have a big game tonight, but they do. I don't trust Philly full game. I really don't. But I do like them first half. And they're a rested basketball team. You're getting a basketball team that has lost 3 straight basketball games, 3 days off. They've been sitting. I think they're going to come out ready to rock and roll. They do handle business at the house. They're 7-0 ATS last 7 at the house. The Lakers, to me, are somewhat a fade, especially on the road. 0-4 ATS last 4 in Philly. 2-6 overall against the number last 8. This is the 5th game. This is the 5th game of a 6-game road trip. Like I mentioned, they're somewhat of a fade on the road. They're 4-8 overall ATS on the road. So I would, definitely lean Philly full game, but I just don't. I'm not in the business of really backing the 76ers full game. They seem to fuck off. But I do believe. Would I like Maxey out there? Yes. But I believe, Embiid will get his. James will do his thing. And I think Tobias Harris also will be the difference maker in here because I think Embiid will outplay Anthony Davis tonight. LeBron gonna do his thing, but yeah, Sixers first half. I like it right here, -1.5. What's the best number we got, Jim?
-2 at -110.
We'll take that.
Locked in for Dutch. I want to join you on this. Dan Kelly has an interesting note too for that Cavs game. Says AD was spreading his flu around the Cavs for the first 10 minutes of that game. A lot of times you see a guy or two come up sick when that happens. Interesting look. Bo Jackson says Davis 4-7 on the road against Atlantic Division. Lakers next Atlantic Division opponent is the Celtics. And
AD wasn't sick, man. He was just being a little motherfucker. Come on, I can't believe he did that. I was happy because I had Cavaliers first half, but this motherfucker left the game mid-game after 10 minutes because his stomach hurt. The fuck? Where'd they do that at, man? Where'd they do that at, Jim?
Bo Jackson calls it snow bunny fever. Lamont Williams in the house. What up, Lamont, my guy? All right, Dutch locked in on Sixers first half -2. I'm very interested in that look. This
Rest.
total in the Lakers-Sixers game has gone up to 227.5, which means that the Sixers won't slow it way down. They'll kind of, if the Lakers want to run, they're no problem doing that. That's sort of what the line is indicating. Do you agree with this 3.5 point move towards the over?
Yeah, this is a tough one here, honestly, because the Lakers surprised me and do play pretty good basketball defense at times, but I don't trust them shooting the ball from the perimeter. So, and I think the Sixers will be dialed in after losing three basketball games. So no, I really don't, I guess.
Interesting. Okay, that's gone up from 224 to 227.5. Let's keep rolling. 8 p.m. Eastern. Detroit Pistons 7-20, 3-12 on the road. At Memphis Grizzlies 16-9, 10-2 at home. We're at FedEx Forum, Memphis, Tennessee. Detroit 2-3 over their past 5, playing at a pace of 99.13 possessions a game, while Memphis 4-1, playing at a pace of 100.90 possessions a game. Big difference a year mix. Last year, Ja the lineup. Grizzlies eat. Desmond Bane becomes who he is now, and Dylan Brooks is a monster. This year, they need Ja badly, and he's playing very, very well. Let's go into the line history here for this one. Obviously, Bane being out is a big part of that story, but we have Memphis opening up at minus 10.5. That's where they are right now, minus 10.5. From a total perspective, opened up at 228, no movement. So we have no movement on either the side or the total in this game. Let's take a look at the cash flow here and see if it's 50-50. 9,378 tickets in. It's not. 39% of the tickets are on the Pistons and 91% of the cash. Then 19% of the tickets are on the under, but 59% of the cash. So very interesting, no movement in the marketplace because there's a lot of cash on certain spots. And those spots being the bigger bets are coming in on the under and the bigger bets are coming in on the Pistons, but the market not moving. Pistons coming off their second loss in 3 games, a hard-fought 104-98 setback at New Orleans on Wednesday night. Bogdanovich, 28 of 31. 28 of 31 in the second half. He 2 technicals. He wasn't around for most of the second half. 2 technicals for complaining to officials, and he's their go-to guy. Bogdanovich stays in that game. They can win that thing. Sadiq Bey playing better, 25 points. Grizzlies coming off their 4th straight win, 123-102 at home to the Thunder on Wednesday night. This was a I don't give a motherfucking shit what the spread is. Play of the day for our guy Durrell for the Grizzlies first half, and it cashed barely, like fucking barely. Now they won this game by 21 points, but if you watch, because I bet it too. We were so lucky. It was just a fortunate. So they missed the last foul shot with 5 seconds left, and Adams tipped it in, and we were not supposed to cash that shit, but we got it. Morant led the Grizzlies 33-10 on Sunday, and then on Wednesday he goes for 26, 13, and 11 in 30 minutes, flying without Bane. And Bane's still recovering from that right toe big strain, but Conchar has looked good in the absence. Dylan Brooks also playing much better with a heavier workload. Take it away for us here, Dutch. Pistons, Grizzlies.
Yeah, Jim, we do a lot, man, but I can't. I got nothing on this one, man. There's so many fucking basketball games, has so many plays. I didn't even look at this basketball game. I got to be honest with you.
No worries. Our guy Big Show Picks in the house sitting with COVID. I hate that you got it. Get better fast, man. Sucks.
Damn, they still got COVID?
Yeah.
That thing going around? Damn, get right, man. Get right.
Get better quickly, my guy. Okay, interesting. Because just
the Pistons are a gritty-ass basketball team. They cover a lot of basketball games here. They just got their ass whooped, I believe. So, I mean, just talking about it, I would have to probably lean the Pistons here. But the Grizzlies just put it on OKC when I took OKC +8. So maybe they're just going to do the same damn thing. This is why I don't want to talk, that's why I just didn't even look at this basketball game, because I can make cases for both sides, to be honest with you.
And the market not moving, so tricky. Yeah. Okay, let's move on. 8:30 p.m. Eastern, Phoenix Suns, 16-9, 4-6 on the road at New Orleans Pelicans, 16-8, 10-3 at home at Smoothie King. Let's take a look at the line history. First off, both teams playing with pace. Phoenix 2-3 over their past 5, playing at a pace of 101.1 possessions a game. Pelicans 5-0, playing at a pace of 102.10 possessions a game. Let's go into the line history here for this one. Big game on the card tonight. These Pelicans opened up as 2-point home dogs, moves to 1.5. From a total perspective, opened up at 227, now at 228. And this has become a real rivalry. Pelicans have been given the second most amount of implied line value, according to Sports Insights, but not at 50, but about 33. 49% of the tickets are on the Pelicans, but 79% of the cash, but the market moving away from them. Then we have 43% of the tickets and 69% of cash on the under. So bigger bets coming in on the under, but it's gone up a point from 227 to 228. Jarek White looking at Pelicanos money line. So here we go. We all remember the playoff series from last year. It was a nice run, nice battle. Suns coming off their second straight loss, and it was ugly. 125-98 at home to the Celtics. I cashed the under, but it was a very ugly loss. Chris Paul came back. Okogie was the only guy doing anything. He went 8 of 14 from the field, 4 of 6 from 3. The rest of the team was 4 of 26 from 3. The Pelicans coming off their fifth straight win, harder than expected, 104-98 win at home over the Pistons. And Pistons were on the second half of back-to-back. New Orleans won its last 5 games without Brandon Ingram. Toe contusion. He's going to be out tonight as well. And Herbert Jones also will be out. And Alvarado, questionable with a rib injury. Take it away for us here, Dutchie, Suns, Pelicans.
Yeah, man. You say there's been, it's kind of a, a rivalry, but the Suns are kind of like the big bro here as well, bro. Last 3 meetings, 3-0 straight up and against the line. Average win 12 points per game. And this to me is, you like this spot, Jim. They just got pumped. I was on the Celtics first quarter the other day, and I didn't know it was going to be that motherfucking easy. I knew it was good money. I didn't know it was going to be that easy, though. 27 at halftime. I mean, they lost the motherfucking game by 27. The game before that lost by 19. And the smack around with CP3's first game back. It's been a minute since he's been playing basketball. Look for him to, get the troops rounded up. And this might be a game where you see them miss B.I. B.I.'s a big fucking thing in that a big player in that rotation, in my opinion. And this is just a get right spot for the Suns. And they are angry, and they're going to take it out on the Pelicanos. Now they did shoot in the last 3 games, those last 3 meetings, they've shot 53% from the field. They do what the fuck they want against this basketball team. Having Herbert Jones not there will not make that any easier for New Orleans. They are 5-1, the Suns ATS last 6 in New Orleans. 12-14 straight up last 16 versus the Western Conference. I look for the Suns just to really beat these boys down. I see a lot of love in the chat for the Pelicanos. I don't like to see that because I want everybody to win money. And you want to win money tonight, it's the Suns minus 1.5. It's good money.
Yeah, it's tricky here. You see bigger bets coming in on the Pelicans, but if you were just reading the market, if all that money is on the Pelicans, then why is the line? I guess you'd expect the line to move a little more, I guess, than a half point. I guess it comes down to that. That 1.5 is still juiced. It's still a 2 at some books. Wow, this is I totally get what you're saying, and Piker's saying the same thing. So you look for good teams that have a reason to play hard and a reason to play well and a reason to come in focused, and certainly getting their asses kicked by the Celtics is that reason. So
in front of their home crowd too, like just got smacked the fuck around. Then they're gonna rally up on the road and take it out on a team who, made them play, who put them to the test last year. But when it came down to it, they've smacked them around since.
Wow. So it is moving in the Pelicans direction at Pinnacle. So Pinnacle, we give you a minus 1.5 at minus 101. So almost no vig at all for the Suns. Minus 1.5, minus 101. I get this look a lot. I'm going to spend more time on it, but this makes sense. Big bets are in on the Pelicanos right now, but that's never scared Dutch. Let's move on. 9 p.m. Eastern, Minnesota Timberwolves 12-12, 5-5 on the road. Utah Jazz 15-12, 9-4 at home at Vivint Arena in Salt Lake City, Utah. And this is the spot that I had mentioned that our guy Rayhan was making the 4-figure bet on these Jazz. He's backing the Jazz here. He says some of his notes, Utah 9-4 straight up at home, Minnesota 5-5 straight up at home, Utah 7-6. Sorry, that must be away. 5-5 straight up on the road. Sorry, I'm just reading his notes here. John C. Van Dyke, thank you so much for pubbing, my man. Thank you so much for being a part and being a member. That means a ton to us. Thank you, my man. Utah 7-6 against the spread at home, Minnesota 4-6 against the spread away. Utah 10-6 against the spread with equal rest. Minnesota 4-11 against the spread with equal rest. They both have equal rest here. Utah 5-3 straight up last 8 in Utah versus Minnesota. And he said Utah's controlling the paint. says Gobert already put pressure on himself in Utah. Clarkson coming in off an ejection, and he says Markkanen should play. That Markkanen spot is extremely important. Markkanen being sick right now. So Minnesota 2-3 over the past 5, playing at the pace of 105.8 possessions a game. Utah 3-2, playing at the pace of 102.6 possessions a game. Both teams playing very quickly. Line value wise here, we have Utah coming in as 3-point favorites. They're now 2-point favorites. So we had a 1-point move towards Minnesota. Total wise opening up at 236.5 and has dropped to 235. So Minnesota comes in off their second win in 3 games, 121-115 at home over the Pacers on Wednesday. And Gobert coming home to a place where he is supposedly beloved. I find it very difficult to believe, but he was NBA Defensive Player of the Year 3 times. And he, on Wednesday night, went for 16 and 21, and he's very excited to be playing in front of his old fans. The Jazz coming off their third win in 4 games, 124-123 at home over the Warriors on Wednesday night. And Mike Conley is questionable here, as is Lauri Markkanen. And Mike Conley's missed the last 10 games with the knee injury. Take it away here. I'm very interested in what your thoughts are. Timberwolves, Jazz, Dutch. Floor is yours.
Yeah, Jim, this is a tough game for me. Shout out to our guy Rayhan. I dig that dude. Salute to you, my man. Appreciate you. I wouldn't, and he's been hot too. He sends me his best too, so he's been hot. So I wouldn't look to fade him in, and I'm not in the backing Minnesota. I don't give a fuck how happy Mr. Gobert is that he coming home with. I don't like Minnesota. I don't like what they're doing. Anthony Towns, say what you will, but they're not a better team without him being out there. But this game's tricky because Utah goes to Denver tomorrow. Minnesota goes to Portland tomorrow. I would only look like, there are a lot of boys on Utah that play for Minnesota, so I would look for them to want to get right. I don't think, Rudy was too light, didn't seem like it. So I don't know. I would look if Markkanen's out there and Conley. I might have to get to the window with Utah. I got a lot of bets today though, so I didn't look too much into this game. To me, it had question marks on both sides, and I do not like the fact that they both have big games on deck tomorrow. But Utah obviously is going to want to win this basketball game against, you got Beasley out there. You got some guys, Vanderbilt. You got guys that play for Minnesota that are obviously going to want to put it on a team that traded them away like they were nothing at 5 fucking picks. I can see why Rayhan's on Utah here. My bad.
Do you think the fact that this is the second half, or this is the first half of back-to-back, would lead to a move on the under, that the player rotations and you'll have to spread everything out? And at this point here, there's 73% of tickets and 98% of cash on the under. Maybe that's too much, but we're only 5,900 tickets in. By the way, 58% of tickets, 93% of the cash on the Jazz, and yet they've moved it a point towards these Timberwolves. The Timberwolves are opening up at +3. They're now +2 with all that money on the Jazz. Very, very, very interesting. Harold Williams leaning to Utah. So what did you think about the move towards the under?
Yeah, nothing really on that, Jim. Honestly, I just think, if Markkanen's questionable, then yeah, that dude's nice. He don't play defense, but yeah, he could get buckets. So if he's out there, I would expect if he says he's in, he'll probably go back towards the over. But yeah, with him questionable, the point guard Conley being questionable, I could only think the line would have to move down.
Interesting.
And both teams having the back-to-back as well. So, and these are division games, I believe, tomorrow. So it's not like they're playing some bullshit teams tomorrow.
A lot to think about in wanting Markkanen here. All right, the final game on the board, and it is a big one. 10 p.m. Eastern, Milwaukee Bucks, 18-6, 6-3 on the road. Dallas Mavericks, 13-11, 10-3 at home at American Airlines Center in Dallas, Texas. Both teams 4-1 over their past 5, playing at a very similar pace. Milwaukee 99.8 possessions a game. Dallas 99.43 possessions a game. Dallas has sped it up. They were playing around the Cavs pace as of 2 weeks ago, playing around 95 possessions a game. There was a time when the Mavericks were playing at the slowest pace in the NBA. They have sped up. Let's take a look at the line history here for this big one. We have the Bucks opening up as 1-point road favorites, being a 3-cent move towards Dallas. Let's go to the money line to give us a better example. A 1-point move towards Dallas on the money line. From a totals perspective, open up at 222.5, now up to 224.5. Let's take a look at the cash flow for this one. We have 8,111 tickets in, 48% of the tickets, 81% of the cash on the Mavericks, and market not moving towards them. Then you have 60% of tickets, 94% cash on the under, and it's gone up 2 points. Bucks coming off their third straight win, 126-113 at home over the Kings on Wednesday night. Giannis, 35-7-6. So 8 consecutive game in which he's gone for 30. That ties Kareem Abdul-Jabbar for the Bucks record. Drew was a monster, 31 points, 6 assists. And Middleton returned last Friday. So now just Slow-Mo Joe, who is being assigned to the Wisconsin Herd of the G League for more practice time. If you thought he was slow before, wait till Slow-Mo Joe comes back. It's going to be hilarious watching him. Just point and laugh, and somehow he makes it happen. Mavericks coming off their third straight win, 116-115 at Denver on Tuesday night. Luka did not lead the Mavs in scoring. Tim Hardaway Jr., 6 of 8 from 3, 29 points. Luka did get a triple-dub, though. Take it away for us here, Dutch. Big game. Last one on the board. Bucks Mavericks.
Yeah, man. Fucked around and got a triple-double. Our guy Spencer was on it. On it again, it looks like, and he likes Giannis as well. I see you, my man. Yeah, Luka the motherfucking dime. Well, the stars will shine bright tonight. And when it comes down to it, man, hey, it's Luka the motherfucking dime. To the window. Give me the +1.5. I took it, man. It reminds me a lot last night. I had one play on the motherfucking board, and it was the Portland Trailblazers. Amazing game last night. I thought it was Dame time. I thought it was a wrap. And then Jamal hit that, shot. But as you know, I took the one in the hooker because I said on the show it could be some motherfucking fuckery. But it was just a big-ass basketball game. Joker did his thing. And, as long as we covered, man, hey, I wanted the Blazers to win that basketball game. Most importantly, we cashed the fucking ticket, Jim. And I don't think this game will come down to like this because I think Luka will close this game. But I do believe this will be a close competitive basketball game. But for 4 quarters, give me the Dallas Mavericks here. I think they're starting to look a little bit more like what we seen last year. You touched on Tim Hardaway Jr. playing out of his fucking mind right now. I don't know if I need all that, but continue to play aggressive and good basketball. Dinwiddie's doing his thing. DFS is starting to look like the old DFS we've seen last year. This team, I believe, is about to go on a run and start playing better basketball. And it's kind of somewhat of a little revenge spot here. The Mavs did lose to these boys recently, November 27th, on a weekend by 9 in Milwaukee. Dallas has kind of turned the corner, I believe, of late, playing better basketball, 1-3 straight. They do handle business at the crib, most importantly. They don't cover very well, but they handle business, 10-3 straight up at the house this year, Jim. So give me the Dallas Mavericks, the best number we can get here. They will win this basketball game, but for betting factor, man, give me the best line, my man.
You can have 1 at -108 or 1.5 at -115.
Yeah, that's what I bet. So let's do that. +1.5, -115. Give me. Hey, it came in last night. So hey, I ain't gonna fuck with it.
That's so wild that it worked last night. I get it. That was a wild ending. All right, that is our NBA breakdown with DutchBoyFresh. Let's review action. I'm interested in the Hornets. I'd prefer to get more than 3. That's what's available for me right now. Dutch gets his card started with the Pacers -4.5 at -114. Then he's on the Raptors first half -4 at -116. He's on the Nets first half -4 at -110. Dan Kelly's on the Nets team total over 61 in the first half. I want in on the Nets early. I like that look a lot. Then Dutch is on the Cavs first half -1.5. I want in on that. Mike M saying Charlotte on a 23-1-1 spot, same spot as Denver last night. Dutch is on the Sixers first half -2 at -110. God, I wish I could be a part of that live stream tonight. I can't. I gotta. But God, that'd be fun. I want in on the Sixers. I kind of want to double up, but I think I do want to double up here on first half full game. But I'm going to take a little more time.
I almost did, Jim. Not to cut you off, my bad, but I almost did. But I really don't trust Sixers at times. They tend to fade away. But I'm not mad at that full game.
Yeah, I like it. Keon Jackson saying Dallas -1 now. Well, we got that. It was totally legit at Penny at +1.5 that we just gave our guy Dutch. Pistons Grizzlies, we are staying off at this point. Dutch is on the Suns -1.5 -101. I want more time with that game. Utah with Rayhan, he's running hot with these 4-figure bets. And then if Markkanen is in, if Conley is in, then I want the under. because Conley is, going to shoot the way he shoots from the perimeter, which is atrocious, and he's just not going to look good. So I'm going to keep an eye out for that. Then Dutch is on the Mavs +1.5, dropping a 6 spot for us. He did that last Friday and went 4-2 with it. Spenny, thank you for the kind words. Dutch, thank you for taking the time to work these giant cards with us on Friday. We love it, and we're so thankful to have you rolling with us and guiding us through these games. Continued success is what you do. We've watched it, and that's what you do in NBA. So keep up the great work, and thank you for sharing your hard work and leans and angles with us. Dutch, follow him on Twitter at DutchBoyFresh. Dutchy, any last words for the Cappers here supporting the show?
Jimmy, my friend, we went in and we're going out with the motherfucking bag. Believe it, my man. Salute to all the real ones. Y'all stay fresh.
There he is. Dutch Boy Fresh in the house. This was a big one, a big giant Friday card. Let's review all action. And we have a special thing we're closing with tonight. Very special thing. Our friend Jose's had a tough week, a tough couple weeks. He's down on himself, and his favorite player has left his baseball team. And he's hurting. He's hurting inside. He's taking up smoking cigarettes, which only will provide him with glory. Just a great, great move. Smart move. And, it adds so much to your life, and you don't need to save money for the future. So it's just huge. It's huge. I think it makes sense. And you don't need to invest anything, right? Just put that money into cigarettes, into big tobacco, So I think this will work. And you don't need more money for your fucking cash flow, right? You need more money for cigarettes. You don't need a bankroll, right? You just want, and then you'll have a personal connection with the guy at the convenience store, right? He'll be like, oh, Belmont Greens, and and you'll have that little look, and oh man, no, this is good. This is good. Let's review all action before we have Jose talk about what it's like when his favorite player leaves his franchise, because he was in the soup last night drinking the sauce. And he was still hurting. He was still hurting. Let's review all action here. Oh, there you go. He'll be back. Over 6.5 for Bobano and Pittsburgh Buffalo. Flames team total over 3.5 at -139. I want the Islanders first period, and I'm going to study the under 6 a little bit more, but I want them first period. I'm going to wait though. Kraken +135 for Bobano. He's on the over 6 in Winnipeg, Chicago. He's on the under 6. Oh no. I'm on the under 6. He's not. Sorry, that's me. I'm on the under 6 -110 in New York, Rangers, Colorado. I bet that and tweeted that out before the show started, and it moved to 5.5 within a couple hours. So I feel good there. And look at the Avalanche unders. Bobano and I are both on the over 6.5 in Minnesota, Edmonton. We stayed off Boston, Arizona, and we're both. I haven't bet this yet, but I'm interested in the Ducks. That was at +110 before they announced the goalie situation. Let's just see. I'm certainly not going to take it if there's any VIG involved. +100. Okay, I'm still fine. Bobano's also on the over 6 at -120. Mike M's pimp slap play today, Philadelphia, Vegas under 6. Then in NCAA basketball, I'm on Bryant first half. I haven't bet these yet. Bobano's on the over 154 at -110 in Farley Dickinson, Columbia. I'm going to be on Columbia. Dartmouth, Central Connecticut, we are off. Bobano's going to be on the over 154 at Queens, High Point. If that gets to 5.5 or 6, I'll move on Queens. We're both on Grambling State, baby. Grambling Tigers +14.5 for both of us. McNeese, I have some interest in Alabama A&M. I want to study that a little more. Bobano is on Washington +17 because Taint play today is on the Huskies +16.5. And then I'm moving on Arkansas State as well. There you have it. There it is. There we go. I've already dropped NBA for us. So let's talk here about let's just give the floor to young Jose Bouquet. It's been tough, and I can't wait to hear your story, your monologue, and I'll be ready to hit the trigger. We'll be going out on that. So before we do, shout out to all the Cappers supporting the show: Bo Jackson, Big Daddy Boom, aka Leo Leon, Piker, Cliff Yang, Sharon, Bo Jackson, Jarek White, Alex Gagnon, Bananas and Grapes, Spenny Penny Bombs, Mike M, Keon Jackson, Joey Marinaccio, Tori Coker, BJ, AOD, Bet That with Jay. Thank you guys so much. BJ, Brian Watson, thank you guys for your support. Rants, Billy Friedrich. Okay, Jose, send us into the future and make us feel better about ourselves, because that's what I think is going to happen here. I think you're gonna talk about your sadness and your torment and your anguish, and I think it's going to make us feel better about ourselves. So take it
Sure.
away.
Sure. So I've come, all the way around in this endeavor that I call life. We've gone through the highs and the lows. I actually, here's your fun fact of the day: Xander Bogaerts. I've been watching him since single A. My family, we lived in Virginia. Shout out to the Salem Red Sox. For a long time, and they were I don't know what exactly they're called, but whenever Hispanic players come over, they don't know what they're doing, all this stuff, they don't know English. My family and all of them would help the Spanish players out, get their shit together, how figure out how to get Wi-Fi, how do you order food, all that stuff that you have to figure out when you're coming to a new country. So I've been watching Xander Bogaerts for a long time. Fun fact, he was one of the guys, one of my friends, like, we should get his autograph. He's a big prospect. And I was like, nah, what are the odds this guy's going to be a huge prospect? And then I've watched him for 10 years, 3 World Series, I believe. He's actually 2, I think. So just kidding. He's my favorite player for a long time. It really hurt my soul, especially when you get reportage that he's going to come back, that the Red Sox ownership, Red Sox general manager, they all get together for an all hands on deck meeting. And thank you, Danny Lopez, as a host family. I appreciate it. And they tell the sources that he's probably to come back. No doubt. They just said, yes, no hesitation. We will re-sign Xander Bogaerts. And then fucking California bigwigs like Damon Santori. When is it Damon Santori? I think Damon Santori is a fucking California guy, San Diego guy. Moose Money. All you fucking rapscallions decide to pay fucking big money prices for your tickets, and your fucking crazy ass owner gives out the most ridiculous contract in this fucking last 4 or 5 years. You're paying Xander Bogaerts 41, absolutely ridiculous. But the point is that he took something from me, took my dignity, took everything I had from me. And if the Red Sox go right around and fucking get Carlos Correa and they sign Kodai Senga, maybe I'll feel better about myself. But that won't take the 2 hours, hour and a half, whatever it was, of pain that I had late last. I stayed up till like 4 a.m. that night, Jim. We had a show that next day. I stayed up. I was like, what am I doing? What am I going to do? Who's going to play shortstop for the Red Sox? I smoked some cigarettes. I had one more last night. It was okay. It wasn't that great. I have had 3 now in the last 2 days, so I'm sorry, Mom. But this is fine. Everything's fine. The Red Sox are going to be fine. And it doesn't matter that someone I've been watching my entire life played shortstop, be a captain, a role model, a leader, a humanitarian, a scholar. It doesn't matter that he's not playing on my baseball team, because you know what, Jimmy? I've got all my pals right here. I've got my pals right here, all my good buddies and friends. Jimmy the Bag, the person that's always nicest to me, doesn't kick me when I'm down, didn't send me a text message. No text messages from Jimmy when Xander happens. So that's how I know Jimmy's a stand-up fella. Did I get 40 to 50 messages across all different platforms about the Red Sox after that happened? Yes. Yes, I did. Were they all mean? Yes. Yes, they were. But that doesn't matter, because it's okay, because we're going to do this together. We're going to come out with some new merch that I just, you know what, Jimmy? Guess what I did all day? I designed our first Pub Sports members only shirt.
Ooh. That
is hopefully going to be up here soon. And it's going to be very fun. And it's going to be great. And yes, Billy, do I answer all of my questions that I ask? Yes. Yes, I do. Have I gotten a haircut since Xander Bogaerts has been signed by the Padres? No, I haven't. Have I showered since then? No, I haven't. And do I stink? Yeah. But it's all right, because you know what, guys? 3 hours and 13 minutes into this, I think we can do this. I think together we can finally do this. And you know what, Jim? I wish I could cry. I wish I could. But you know what I've been taught in my 25 years of life?
I can't get my mouth around that thing. Oh,
thank you. Us Hispanics, when something actually hurts us, we just push it deep down. shove it down there, just deep. Push it down there and don't let it hurt you again. Because if you don't think about it, it won't hurt you. So I'm not going to watch West Coast baseball this year. I won't be watching the Los Angeles Dodgers and the Padres square off as Mookie Betts and Xander Bogaerts face off against each other. Will I be? No, I will not. I will gladly be listening to you guys tell me all about it, but I won't do it because I cannot do it right now. And I'm very sad still. And we've come all the way full circle on this lovely rant.
I'm a little disappointed. I thought,
Jim, I apologize. Disappointment is all around, unfortunately. The Red Sox disappoint me frequently. I can't.
You seem pretty together now.
Well, when you have 5 or 6 lemon drop shots last night, yeah, I mean, come on, maybe 1 or 2 green tea shots in there, 5 or 6 lemon drops. It pushes it all down. And we're fine. Am I going to finish this show? Have some beverages, continue this buzz that I've got going on since last night? Yeah, I am. And I'm going to go see my pals, the other producers, and we're going to fucking do some pub sports radio shit tonight. So it's going to be a great time. So shout out to Lemon Drop Shots.
Oh, man. So I guess your girlfriend paid for them.
Oh, no, I paid. Well, she paid.
She ordered them.
Oh, no, I mean, come on. Come on. It's a very a light bar we went to, so I'm sure the bartenders looked at me and said, "That's the lemon drop shot guy. Yeah. That's him. And I took that mantle. I took them all with pride, and I was sloppy.
Oh God! All right. Well, at least we ended with a laugh. Jose, it's good that you've come to grips with this, but I wanted to end the week on you.
If Carlos Correa does not sign with the Red Sox, I will be full tilt, angry and frustrated. That's my only saving grace. Oh, Jesus. Oh, Jesus. There goes one. Jimmy the Bag. I think Jimmy's power just went out. What just happened to young Jimmy the Bag? Okay. All right. So maybe it's me. I don't know, but I guess we've lost Jimmy, and that will conclude this edition of Betting with the Bag. What an interesting way to end this show. I'm gonna go ahead and close Jimmy because I guess Jimmy just lost power. We just watched that happen, ladies and gents. So that's very funny. Thanks everyone for watching the shows as always. I appreciate it. I am not going to be very excited for when the Red Sox do sign Carlos Correa, but that's the only thing I've got for you. So remember, everyone, and there goes Jimmy, by the way. So sign up for our Pub Sports memberships right now, $5.99 for the month. Renews every month is a great time. Like I mentioned, we're going to have some Pub members exclusive merch coming out here soon, so you guys can purchase it if you're a Pub member. So sign up today, and we'll see you guys next time. We'll see you guys on Saturday. Little NCAA Net Profit live stream. Some live streams tonight. Basketball. It's going to be a whole lot of fun. And until then, guys, everyone get your fucking hands together. I'm still doing the outro no matter what if he's not here. Leche! Hey, los bookmakers.